assault rifle, some balance adjustments to old favorites, and a few terrain changes to Destin. All this and more as we dive into the Update 22.2 patch report. First up, a popular new French assault rifle is hitting the Battlegrounds. The FAMAS is a 5.56 AR capable of single fire, burst, and full auto. You won't find this new weapon among normal loot, however, so check care packages and other special areas where powerful weapons spawn. We're also giving a couple tried and true ARs some balance adjustments, with the AUG, M416, M16, and the Mutant all receiving a few changes. Check out the patch notes for full details on these. Also, with the introduction of the FAMAS, the AUG will now spawn among normal Battlegrounds loot. Destin is also getting a few changes, with the addition of several hills between Barcliff and Tarita, to aid players making the long and perilous trek. There's also a new dirt track south of San Carlo, to break up sightlines a bit and add some more interesting flavor to that area. And since the PUBG 6th anniversary is fast approaching, we're also putting up some festive decorations around Erangel, Miramar, and Sanak. We've also updated the Hall of Fame on Erangel with special items to commemorate the PGC 2022 winners, so check it out on your next drop. That's it for this quick update. But as always, you can find all the details on these changes and more in the official patch notes. Update 22.2 is here, so find yourself a new FAMAS, and get ready to celebrate the glorious 6th anniversary of PUBG. We'll see you on the Battlegrounds.
The latest game from Krafton and 5min Lab. Fast-paced and full intense PvP action brawler game. Use your best combo to send your opponent to the lobby. Select your legends and be the winner. Pick the mode that suits your fighting style, from 1v1, 2v2 to Battle Royale. Available to download and play free on Play Store, App Store and Steam. Let's be legends today!
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the last day of the PUBG Challenger Rumble 2023 Season 1, and of course it's day number 4. My name is Sir Cloud, together with the amazing Choo-Choo. We'll be your storytellers for today. How are you doing today, Choo-Choo?
bit of overstatement, but yeah, we're doing great. I'm super excited when it comes to the final day here. We're talking about the teams that's taking the reign over at the podium spot. Definitely it's going to be AAP for now, but at the same time, we're talking about also the PGS team, including like example here, it's going to be none other than Gascan, come up from NA, now playing in Australia and joining in with the South Asia to actually have that slot in the last minute. Can they make it? Because AAP taking reign over that podium spot, they're not giving it away freely.
Yeah, definitely. The points are still close enough, and we still have 5 more games to go. So anything can happen in today's final run. My oh my. So it will be really, really exciting to see who will actually clinch the title. Of course, if we talk about Archangel Predator, they have been the scene like forever, especially in the Southeast Asia scene or the Asia Pacific scene. So it will be interesting to see if they can hold up to it. A couple of roster changes for them throughout the years, but hey, they are still one of the best teams around.
The second day when it comes to Predator League back then in the 2020 to Tokyo, I was there at that time as well. But speaking of the other teams, I do want to highlight, for example, ExoClan. They are the one that we should watch out here today. But before we get into the tournament itself, don't forget we're back to our super rule, which is the standard universal PUBG esports rule, where we're going to have the first place taken away that chicken dinner with 10 points. And second place is quite a gap in between. It's going to be ended up with 6 points. Down to until 9th and 16th ended up with a nil. But the kill point system is still going to be the same. 1 point per kill.
Yep, and of course for placement points, those with the winner with the chicken dinner will receive 10 points, second place 6 points, third place 5 points, fourth place 4 points, fifth place 3 points, sixth place 2 points, 7 to 8 1 point, 9 to 16 unfortunately will end the round without any placement points. So that also means that the elimination points will be very, very important. And as we can see, some of the top teams, they managed to gather a good number of elimination points to put them on top. But hey, being on top also has its rewards.
When it comes to prize, but lion's share amount of $2,000 to be grabbed away for these guys. And not just that, what's bigger is there's going to be only one slot available for these guys to actually head into the PUBG Global Series. And not just that, if I'm not mistaken, there's only one slot as well for the Asia Super Cup later on. So there's a lot at stake here when it comes to getting that podium spot. We're talking that number one grabs and takes everything away. Whilst the second place will have a bit of consolation, getting away 1,700 USD. And the third place will take away 1,300. But at the same time, we're talking about the first place is either go big and take it all.
Yep, whatever it is, there's still PGC points to be collected. So even though that particular team is not the champion, not in the first place, they should still aim for as high as possible. Putting aside the prize money, PGC points are important as well to qualify them into the next stage. So there's a lot on stake here. And our 16 teams, I mean, they are putting in a lot of work. They are putting in a lot of, I would say, a challenge to the other teams. But hey, this is the map for today.
Was heavily to its side of Miramar, but today we're leaning towards the Wrangle more, where we have triple Wrangles as a start. And also when it comes to Miramar, we only have 2 more Miramar left for these guys and these boys to actually have their action on. We're talking about the teams that really love and have a bit of a comfy spot when it comes to Wrangle. This is their time to shine. We're talking about the teams yesterday performance. ExoClan has been taking quite an effort for the entire day, and there's only like 3 teams in total yesterday being taken that chicken dinner away. We're talking about AAP as well as Gascan. Now these are the top 3 teams in the top 3 ranks as well, whilst the other, they are still striving to actually make their numbers up. But in the meantime, do keep an eye out for the teams on the second page, because they have nothing else to lose.
Oh yeah, if they have nothing else to lose, they can just go all out guns blazing, and that can be very scary, especially to the teams on top. So they gotta be prepared for all the challenges that they might face throughout the day. And today we'll be playing 3 Erangles and 2 Miramars, and then we'll wrap up the day. By then we'll know who will be the number 1 champion. I mean, 3 Erangles, it is a staple map, so teams should be prepared for that. But speaking about teams, here are all participating teams.
Piggies, and whereas AAP and your Predator coming up from Filipina, as well as APH. And 4 Samurais have been a lot of action coming up from them as well. Yesterday, Aurora, I want to see more of them. We do have Chum Farmers, which sometimes popping here and there, always in the top 5 sometimes, but I just hope they can keep that consistency going. Czech Gaming will be one of the teams that always engage in early fights. TNX, same goes for them as well.
Yep, followed by Panic Esports. At this moment, they are still in the running for the top spot as well. Number 5, despite them having like a 61 point gap, but hey, you never know if they can pop up insane today. And followed by Exo Clan and Gas Clan. Can, of course, they are the closest to the number 1 spot with a 12-point difference with Archangel Predator. So they will be one of the biggest threats to that number 1 spot. From the future, well, they have yet to hit that 100-point mark, but hey, I mean, anything can happen if they can just go insane today, especially if they can collect those elimination points, like what you mentioned earlier on about some of the teams might have nothing to lose. They'll play a little bit more aggressive. We have 1 call as well. So at this point, 1 call, number 4, 127 points, not too shabby as well. Pintados Esports is still in it, and we have Starlight and Trident Esports, who's currently at page number 2, but well, who knows? Don't forget as well, PGC points to be collected.
The overall rankings right now, where we're going to have our start of a line here today at number 1 spot, none other than Archangel Predators, with a 12-point gap between the gas cans. Now this is a very tight spot and a lot of competition in between these 2 teams only, but when it comes to 3rd and 4th place, it's not that too shabby either. We're talking about them might actually play a bit of a catch up to the 1st and 2nd place, but no room for mistakes here today.
Yeah, no room at all for any of these teams because a lot of it at stake, especially the PGC points. Even though if you're on page number 2 and you might feel that, oh, okay, there's nothing more for us to compete. No, there's still a lot more to compete, especially when it comes to the PGC points, where you'll be collecting it throughout the season. So you never know what might happen later on. But looking at the stats here, Archangel Predator, they have been solid with those chicken dinners coming in. 5 chicken dinners so far for Archangel Predator. However, it's we all do know that the chicken dinner points is only worth 10 points. A lot of it may come from elimination points.
Points for this year is going to be 740 for the 1st place, and down to 16 it was only 40 points, and that's a huge gap. 700 gap in between the 1st and the last place. Now they definitely have to secure that number 1 spot, because even in the 1st and 2nd place is quite a gap already. It's going to be 100 in between for all these rankings. If you can't make it for the 1st season here, it's going to be a lot of catching up to do for the 2nd season.
Yep, so they better do it now than later. But here's a reminder again for today's matches, which will be the last day as well. So we will be playing our first 3 maps inside of Erangel. Up until the 4th match, it will switch over to Miramar. 2 Miramas back to back. We'll end the day. We'll crown our champions. We'll look at which team gets how many PGC points and so on and so forth. So the first 3 maps definitely will set the tone, because it's supposed to be the comfort map for all these teams.
To mention up the tone and also about dragging the momentum since yesterday, I want to see if Exo Clan still have those sort of aggressiveness on their side to actually portray it back on the last day here. We're talking about stamina for the players. It has been like 2 weekends I have to play throughout 20 maps so far, and lucky enough we only have 2 maps going on right now and not more than that, because these guys have to keep on readapting based on the circle, based on the flight pattern. It has not been gentle for these boys for the past day as well. And speaking of which, we're looking for today's Erangel, because yesterday a lot of it actually ended up on the northern side. We'll be in kind of a generous circle in between or in the center, or we'll be more towards the southern part. That's going to be playing a bit a factor towards these guys as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if the circle becomes merciless today, since it's the last day, right? It's going to be the last round for these teams. Drop onto military base, why not? I mean, we always like that kind of circle, at least as a viewer or as a caster, but for the teams, it's not a fun circle because of all those choke points. There's only technically 2 easy routes in, which is the bridge. Other than that, it's the water route, which is super challenging. So yeah, that's why teams just don't like it. But for us, of course, if that happens, action will flow like water, as they say, because it's all those choke points. Teams will fight each other to get into the circle. They will generally meet up at the bridges. You will see a lot of teams fighting out the bridge, and when the zone comes in, they'll be caught out, then that's where a lot of action will happen. But hey, I mean, it is just having our preferred circle as a viewer, as a caster, but what is yours at home? Put it in the comment section. We'd like to know as well. So let's see if any one of you get your preferred circle today.
What I want to see is not just a circle. I want to see the players as well when it comes to individual technicalities and how they can survive by themselves. We've seen a lot of 4 Samurai player always ended up solo like Fadiz, and also aside of TNX. I'm looking for M0 performance today. Yesterday almost clutched one person against 2 teams at one time, and also he almost clutched again by himself yesterday, but he's being finished off by another player from behind. So when it comes to individual skills, M0 as a player have so much to offer, but when it comes to PUBG as a whole, it's always about a teamwork. It's always about having that 4 men working around and rumbling it out in this massive maps, especially when it comes to more later on. But back to it, some teams there, I do want to spot out like some example here, Panic Esports, even on side of not just Panic Esports, also the APH side, because they are the ones who love those scrappy plays when it comes to the mid game, but they are teams that love to have those skirmishes quite early on. We're talking about including here, in this case, it might be the side of TNX, even on the side of Aurora Esports on there, and I don't see a lot of them. I do want to see them having that last push in the last day, including here, it's going to be Chicha Gaming as well.
Yeah, unfortunately for those 2 teams, generally they bow out fairly early. We see a lot of 16 places from them, 15, 14 and so on. Yes, there are rounds that they do survive a little bit longer, but the downside is also from their playstyle is that they don't gather that many elimination points. So they are the 2 lowest, and the gap is fairly far from the others as well. In average per round, they might get like 1 or maybe 2, and that's about it. So with that kind of number, it just shows to us that they are not that action-oriented kind of team, so that's why I guess they don't come out on screen that much. But hopefully they'll be able to find a footing. And again, despite them ending out on page 2, by the end of the day, there's still PGC points to collect, so there's still a lot of reason for them to play to the best of their abilities in order to climb up as high as possible in the overall charts.
For the first season, so with the second season for them to actually have another push. But again, before we get into the first match, I know you guys are super excited like we are right now, but we're waiting for the players to get ready. We want to go everything at the back end, going everything super smooth for the final day here. So be patient for a bit, and we are waiting for the first match to start. While waiting, why not share your thoughts with us when it comes to which team you actually hope for when it comes to getting that 1 slot going towards the side of PGC, because there's only 1 slot available. If I'm not mistaken, for Asian Super Cup, we do have 4 slots available for Southeast Asia, but that's going to be straight again with the first spot, the first ranking in the overall ranking, or where we're gonna get our champions here today. We actually get that the extra slot, that 1 slot already reserved for the Asia Super Cup. So the other 3 slots, on the other hand, we're still waiting for it to be announced. But for the others though, that didn't actually try and make it in the first place, they still have a shot. Like you mentioned about the PGC points, it's not over here. It's always going to be another step. Like you have to think about not just now, it's even something that invested in the future. Like you know, the lesson we can actually learn here by mistakes. Like if there's mistakes and there's some sort of how do I say this? It's something that not familiar with them for this season. They can always starting off with a clean slate for the next season as well.
Yeah, they can, definitely. So that's the beauty about collecting these points, right? So it gives you motivation to go like every season you gotta do your best, and it doesn't matter whether you're on page 2 or not, you will still want to do your best. So it really keeps you on your toes. And even for the teams up there as well, it will be kept on their toes, because even though if they are champions of this season, but maybe the next season they don't really perform, so that could affect the overall points as well. Or maybe we just put aside the champions, maybe like if they do really well, like they get 2nd place in this season, so they still don't get that the slot to the next round, the PGS slot. But because of this point system, next season they still need to remain consistent. So as long as they can remain consistent, then they have an opportunity to move on to the next round. So at the end of the day, it's all about consistency, not only in this one tournament, Juju, but it's throughout the season. It's a big challenge for all these teams.
The entire, just gonna be straightforward about that. But speaking of the players, they have been playing since the dawn of PUBG itself in esports. So I think they have been invested their entire life in this tournament, as well as the game itself. But speaking of the other teams that we mentioned early on, also I want to talk about a bit more into Gascan. I do know for a fact they have a humongous amount of fan base here, and also the fact they're coming up from now coming into when Oceania actually merged into the Southeast Asia. I'm loving the fact that we do have so many Australian teams coming in this time as well, so that's gonna give a bit of a fresh take of look of this tournament itself, and giving a bit of a bump when it comes to performance in Southeast Asia team as a whole, and including that it's going to be AAP. Now our Angel Predators is always the team that always get into the PUBG Challenges Rumble in the finals. It's always in the final list, on that list of getting the top 3 in every single map or every single season. When it comes to PCR, they're always there. But when it comes to Gascan, on the other hand, they are a world-renowned team, back then known as Wildcard Gaming. Also played for played for TSM, been there like other teams as well. And so many experienced background players. We talk about veterans here coming up from Gascan. Now at the same time, we're looking at the first and second place here. AAP did actually take the money away coming up from Gascan still.
Yeah, I mean, looking at those names from Gascan, they have played in the previous Global Series as well. So, like what you said, these are teams that they know how to come back. And despite them still being at number 2, with a 12-point gap at number 1, but because they're so experienced, they know how to take it game by game, and they know how to reset themselves. So, definitely not a team to look down upon. So, even like such a legendary team in Asia Pacific or Southeast Asia, our Angel Predator, they cannot be comfortable with the current situation that they're at, despite them getting like 5 chicken dinners and all that currently at number 1. It doesn't mean that they will remain number 1 by the end of the day. So that's one thing. But like what you say, I really like to see the amount of Australian teams coming into the series as well. Besides that, we got a couple of Indonesian teams, we got a couple of Filipino teams as well. Before this, we do see that a lot of Filipino teams generally do well, but now with the Australian teams in the mix, especially for today's tournament, this will definitely shake up a lot of things.
Question when it comes to Southeast Asia, how come Thailand and Vietnam is not included as well?
True.
But they do have their own respective the league and the finals as well. So everything will be making sense when it comes to getting into the globals as well as the Asia Super Cup, which I'm looking for the Asia Super Cup especially. I do want to see how these teams will actually fare when it comes to getting those best of the best representatives coming up in Southeast Asia as a whole. And not just that, I do want to see like the other teams, example here, that I see so much potential going up into the number 1 spot anytime soon, including second season here. It's going to be EXO Clan, definitely. They are one of the most bloodthirsty teams out there. When it comes to getting those fights, when it comes to getting those push, they're always relentlessly brazen, bold, and trying to force those fights. And they are the teams that don't really have a care in the world about their rankings. They just care for the eliminations, right, for the kills, because they do know for a fact that those chicken dinner will actually not make up to the points if you compare to kills, based on how the point system is quite low for the ranking points now. It's like no matter how much you got your ranking points, if you can secure those double-digit elimination, things will go very well along the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, if you look at the stats for EXO Clan, there are 95 kills, but and the gap between them at number 3 and number 4, it's 20. But their gap between them and as in number 3 and number 2, the gap is just 7. So you read it right. They are currently going in for those kills. And if we look at the chicken dinner with the most kills, it's also by them. So the record right now is 19 for 19 together with the chicken dinner and it's held by them. So I mean, they are still a force to reckon with, and it'll be super scary. Imagine if they come crashing into your compound. There was even once that they got a third place finish in one of those rounds, I believe it was yesterday, with 12 kills. So these guys, they just not stopping when it comes to fragging.
Something awkward here as we have this face cam for the longest time, but I'm glad we have the cue that the map will be starting very, very soon. We're gonna fly in very soon enough. You guys who's watching at home, don't forget to cheer for your favorite team or your favorite player in this case. But we're looking for, when it comes to the last day, is there any sort of unorthodox play will be offered by these players and teams as well? Will there some teams will be caught red-handed or off guard when it comes to those kind of push? Because right now everything have to be laying out there in the open. We're talking about the players and the teams have a lot at stake here, especially when it comes to the last day. Only 5 more maps to go and 3 Erangels, and that's it. And finish off the day with double Miroma and it's gone. You know, the chances for them to actually get in that number 1 spot down to this last window of opportunity in the last minute.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy today. So can't wait to get the game started. We do expect to see like some of the PH2 teams, like what you mentioned, just going all guns blazing, because some of them might have the mentality of like, hey, we got nothing to minimal to lose, so we might as well go all out against the other team. So that could be something that the teams need to be aware of. So teams like Angel Predator, like Gascan, like Exoclan, you guys got to be careful of the teams, not from the teams, not necessarily from the teams around you, but also from the teams at the bottom half. So they could really switch things up. So far, the only team at the bottom half that has gotten a chicken dinner is Starlight. So, but that was like in day number 2, I believe. So there's still a lot more to go. But hey, right now, we will be starting the first match really soon. I'm already seeing some graphics related to Erangel. I can't wait to get this game started. What are your expectations in game number 1?
Expectations will be let the game starting. I mean, like, this is the longest 2 minutes for my entire life right now to wait for the game to start. And finally, we're in. I cannot wait to see what these guys actually will have to offer to us. But definitely, we're still waiting for something to happen, I guess. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm hoping definitely the teams that coming out on the middle bracket, or I call the Chasers pack, where they're trying to make it harder for the teams on the top to actually secure or solidify themselves in the podium spot, just making a bit of suspense, you know, in the last minute, having this last push. And at the same time, the teams at the bottom, they have nothing else to lose. Right now, they have to prove themselves more than anything else in the world, even though they can't actually make it in the first page in the last minute. But you know what? They are still there. They're still there to win those chicken away.
Yep. I mean, at the end of the day, if you are able to get the chicken dinner, despite being at the page number 2, if you're able to get the chicken dinner, your poster comes up, you can still celebrate it. It's still a screenshotable moment, and it's still something for you to keep for a very, very long time, or bragging right at least. At least, even though you're like, page number 2, you're not the champion, but you can still go like, hey, you know what, I'm on the page 2 teams, we got a chicken dinner. So, something to celebrate, right? I mean, every little win means something. And we will be jumping into Erangel, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is, a flight path. Looks like it's going to be southern centered. So expect some clashes in the middle of the map.
I swear to God, that's the most relief moment, the moment I saw the game cam start to move. We finally in after the longest time of blabbering some random thoughts and just giving out opinions all the time. And finally, we still haven't seen the circle to pop just yet, but it's more to the southern side of the flight path, like you mentioned before, our early skirmishes. Speaking of FTF and also EXO, they're having a bit of a greeting, but feels like they're not committed to it just yet. Both teams know for a fact it's a bit too early to start the fight. Just going to build up their loot, build up their gears, and just maybe have it another go after a couple of minutes of done with their gears. They're looting up. But on the side of T, they're a bit too close to the side of Kang. I'm not sure how Amped will actually approach FTF in this distance, but KDR, they're splitting themselves too far apart, coming up from the future.
Oh yeah, they're coming from the future. They read their opponent and they drop inside a hospital. But we can see a little bit of a spread there from the future. Two of their players on the outside hospital taking different angles. So if they can get a first knockdown, probably they'll rush in from the inside. But right now, we also see that there's one player from Exo Clan. He's on the outside as well. So he'll be taking care of in case of any long range snipes coming in. So far we will expect this to be a little bit of a stalemate considering that they are in the circle as well. So unless someone just chooses to just rush in.
This might take forever if the circle for the second phase still on top of hospital here. But at the same time, they are quite in a dangerous place where they want to overstay themselves. KDR might actually be spotted by Squikita. I'm not sure if they got any clue there's somebody just lurking behind there. Definitely off angle and the blind spot straight away coming from KDR, just pinned down on Squikita. Now Axo, they're splitting too far off to actually follow up what KDR just opened up for the rest of FTF. In the meantime, which is going to be a Malaysia player coming up from Exo Clan, also start to build up the tension between FTF at the flank side. But the thing is, they don't have anybody on the side of Exo from the outskirts anymore. They don't have a clue what's happening outside. Everybody's staying indoor. And from the side of FTF, this is a huge advantage for them because not just that they kind of secure the watchmen from the outskirts, they also secure there's so many information they can actually gather themselves and relay back towards the rest of the team with that one person coming up from the outside. And they have no clue whoever actually in here for the side of EXO right now due to their person that being the scouter at the back being finished off entirely.
Ooh, but look at this, Juju. They are coming in. So looks like from the future, they're going to start it off. They've read the future. They know that they should make the first move. And now they're going in. Boy, almost being gunned down. That was a close one. But another counterfight coming in from the ground floor. Takes him out. And Man is there to take him down.
He's down and now very dangerous in himself. Nobody else to actually pick him up. KDR just barely make it in the last minute, but Goose in the meantime just going to secure and translate into one kill point. Back to it, trying to find the rest of the member of FTF. They had the upper hand before. Axo lost one man earlier on the side of FTF, but nonetheless is still making a bit of a turn here. While KDR, the Bison, I'm not sure how things going to fare, but Exo Clan still have to deal with that, and the first team out is nonetheless, it's going to be still FTF. Didn't work out so well for them. This is what we mentioned early on before we start the game here. Axo, when it comes to getting those fights, they are way on the par. Like, compared to after, it's a bit subpar. But right now, Axo, starting off with the 3 men or not, they still wrap things up very clean.
Yeah, that's too bad for them, though. Probably they wanted to go for the aggression move, like what you say, prioritizing the elimination points, but unfortunately, that's a trade-off, right? If it works out for you, great, you can get those points. But if it doesn't, then that's what happens. You go at number 16 not getting anything at all, not even a single point. So it's just too bad for them. It didn't work out. But it was good news for their opponent, Exo Clan, not only able to gather resources from the opponents that they just took down, but they also secured the entire compound for themselves. And they're still within the circle, so they can still use that as their checkpoint if they want to, but it could be possible that they'll move away from that. There are a lot of other good checkpoints around that area as well.
Speaking of checkpoint, feels like 4 samurais start to move themselves to a side of a bridge here. Just going to a side of PE. Now, PE is another team that you should watch out for. We love those early skirmishes. That is actually just going to back down from it, including just how 4 samurai start to give a bit of a greeting, but nothing seems to be connecting those dots just yet. I think 4 samurai just have to, face the fact that they have to actually give it away for the side of PE, who try to actually be the bridge campers if possible, waiting for their time to actually see if there's any other team trying to actually place themselves here. But you know what? Just some is not going to give away some, because feels like it's not going to let this one go with those taps coming from SLR, but still not connecting those dots since the spray before.
Yeah, it's not easy connecting an SLR shot from that distance. Just look at the recoil from that weapon. But you're right. Right now, since they're able to cross the bridge first, they could be the gatekeepers against 4 samurai. And we've seen that before. They can place themselves on the lighthouse. They can open up on the house to the left. So they can pretty much secure this bridge, which is exactly what they're doing right now. Only sending Kalo to the gas station behind. But that's also another area where they can secure. They can look just straight down the bridge and gather those informations needed. So it's going to be tough for Samurai, and not sure how they're going to manage that now.
They actually trying to get themselves in a different sort of rotation, even find themselves a boat. As we do know for a fact, PE will actually be the chokers coming up from that bridge and making sure that it's going to be a choke point for the rest of the team. Don't forget about CJ when it comes to him tossing those nades. He can actually score a big one from his one nade as well. But back to the side of 4 PGs, we do have quite a visitor around there somewhere, including Gascan Luke is around there as well. Now Gascan, this is their time to push their rank as well if they need to actually get that number 1 spot. We're talking about them so close of getting those gaps, just making sure the margin is getting smaller. They have to be aggressive for today, not being too safe. But at the same time, a bit too reckless will be too dangerous for them to actually losing that 1 spot and 1 slot to PGC.
But look at this. Look who's overlooking. So it's going to be Gascan. Yeah, overlooking 4P. So they know exactly where their opponents are at the compound below them. But no big reason for them to really rush in and take over this compound just yet. It's not really a key position. In fact, if any key position, it will be 4P for now. So it will be Gascan for now since they have that high ground, which is kind of nice as well. You're able to see rotations coming in from the southern side, going across a ferry pier, and that's where they can take shots. But speaking about taking shots, Starlight almost getting one.
Archie swapping over his arsenal there, trying to tap down on Juice, but Aura still managed to get away from there. But in the meantime, this is a dangerous game coming from both teams. They're way too far from the safe zone. For sort of Hachi, still not happy about it, but he's still got abundance of first aids to work around, so he's not going to be having that problem. Still the first phase of the circle anyways. Doesn't matter that much when it comes to those kind of burns coming up from the blue zone, but you know for a fact that you cannot stay here for too long. Not just you have to deal with the gatekeepers the moment you step out from the blue zone, but you have to secure those vehicles. I'm not sure he had got himself, definitely got that vehicle parked in here somewhere, but at the same time, for the rest of the team that's still not joining into the rest of the circle, they have to figure out how to cut across. There's so many choke points that they have to actually venture out and navigate themselves to the safe zone unscathed, but it's not going to be an easy task.
Oh, very smart move by Just Some. Jumping down into the water, but they know, they see him. CJ is going to take the shot together with his teammate. And looks like it's going to be Kyle taking out Just Some. At least it's only one. The rest of his teammates nowhere to be found. But that gives a signal that, hey, this bridge is...
CJ, as always. I mean, I think Cloud is lost there somewhere. There's always tech issues here and there, guys. I mean, sorry, we're trying to do our best to do whatever we have, right? But back to the side of Starlight. They are, for a fact, always a team that can be like zombies. They know how to pick up themselves. But in the meantime, this smoke will cover them for a bit more, buying a bit more time. But he also didn't see this coming up from Milka. He will push from the side. He's committed to it. He wants to go for this. He will turn them into a splat. But Milko dangerously just making sure he's exposed himself out in the field and making a big U-turn. I'm not sure if this U-turn will actually make it on time. But lucky enough, Milko coming up from Aurora, they can just flee and just make it back safe where they were starting at the starting point there. Aurora, they're trying to finish off those kills, but in the meantime, Starlight's not making it easy. They're split, just having a wide coverage of fear, giving those support fire from the back line. As L9 trying to reach out to Ayase, but at the same time, they have to make sure things are clear before they actually try to revive their teammate. But the circle has to be shifting towards the southern side for a bit. We might end up right on top of Corey now. That's going to be a tricky terrain to play with. But back to the side of Panic Esport, Heavy and Cherry working as a duo. And we do have PE rotating. On the side of one core, they're having to fight head onto the side of Nandu. Ramps being finished off. But APH, this might be a problem. They didn't put in account. They're living on the one player left. But how do Rudvin trying to actually revive the rest of a teammate? Never mind. One call, make sure they blow themselves to smithereens as they will survive and try for this minor battle for now.
With the elimination of Action PH, there's opportunity for Aurora and Chicha to actually climb up on top of them. But we'll need to wait and see how will they perform this round. ONC, or one call, still surviving, but Archangel Predator. They know what's happening on the other side. They'll be keeping eyes on them. Suspect trying to get into the circle safely, but looks like he's going for the chase. Super Look gets away.
actually go and part ways from the rest of the team and making sure they can get into the circle. Slickly enough, they're actually not clashing with any of the team, but CG is waiting on the other end for panic. I mean, like, they should be panicking about which one they want to pick a fight from, because there's another team everywhere coming out from the southern part of the circle. It's so crowded as we speak. It's so many teams coming out from the south and maybe on the eastern side. But Panic sucks back, taking on Zav and Says. Cherry and the rest of them quite split it right now and going straight into the forest. But CG were greater on the side of APH. APH will not actually give away the compound easily. Now this making sure that Panic will actually have to make a bit of a U-turn, pull back and reassess the situation, regroup somewhere else, place that entirely safe for them.
Yeah, they got to make it quick. They can't stay in an open area. We can see on the minimap shots fired onto them. So it's not a comfortable area for them to be at this point. Speaking about comfortable areas, so to next, looks like they have a good spot here with this compound at Ferry Pier. So they're going to be A-okay for now. But for 4S, decided to use the water route, which is a smart move in case they got caught up by other teams at this point. Because a lot of teams would have taken that checkpoint, so they'll be stopping teams from making those rotations. Taking a little bit of a blue zone damage, but that's going to be okay. We are still fairly early. Phase number 2. Phase 3 shouldn't be too far, hopefully. Fingers crossed, but they shift away. It's okay.
They're willing to actually negate themselves from so much trouble just to get into the side of the island as well, onto off-Primos. But ASO is just leaving that vicinity. Where I do have TNX already got himself one of the strongest compounds to work with to guard about whoever trying to swim around or even just cross over and dock himself on the shoreline. But in the meantime, we're talking about Quarry. We'll be hard shifting to his left side because CF is already there, including CG. But Gas Cannon on the other end, they're working themselves into the strongest, one of the most vintage place and most of the most primary spot that is on top of this circle. We're talking about right in the center and one of the most comfortable compound to work around. They got the high grounds, they got those elevation, they got that pit to work out for in case they have to pull back and there's somebody else ambushing and coming up from the northern part. But we do have exchange of fires coming up for 4Ps versus a Panic, but Gascan picking the fight to his side. TNX who's across the street from them. We do have come out from Ferry Pier, only PE. Now two teams come out from the northern side. There's only two of them. Quite a clear pathway. As long as they stay where they're at, they're going to be taking this domination on the northern side. Nobody to contest alongside with them.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how Starlight gets into the circle because they are heading towards another team. So let's see if it clashes or if their scouter can get the information as early as possible for them to make a different decision. Right now, we can see our Interpreter having the high ground. Alec is there, so TRDT maybe gate cap, but at least they still have some space to play with. But it looks like we're going to see a fight here.
Into committing into to his side of the but has been waiting there and definitely with that lead. Gonna spot it out. They got themselves Gillis on the side of Paradox, but Milko again forcing the fight here straight into Eva Patrick. And waited or not, he's been there forever, but he's straight away taking those fights and those kills. And that's going to be going out full gun blazing for Savro. They're not even hesitant to make the move here. Bots will be on his knees next, and none also greeted out by the side of Milko. Milko, the one going for front line, full force, pushing in, not even having any sort of second thought, and we're pressuring to the side of AAP with those nades being tossed around.
Oh, not looking good for Archangel Predator. They are losing bodies, and that will be a total elimination for one of their players. And this will be a good news for Gascan as they are comfortable within the circle. At the same time, we can see at the bottom screen, two teams going up against each other. At the same time, the blue is going to pressure them. A lot of action happening at the same time, and none will be taken out.
Still trying to find for more. Well, in the meantime, we're talking about the teams struggling to actually get themselves into the safe zone, including Panic versus PE right now, as CJ tried to make sure they would deny their entry into the safe zone, with Cherry barely make it in. And now at the same time, PV might actually got into the off angle of Kaio, but Silent and the rest of PE are pushing to a sort of Panic. Now Panic definitely panicking, but Kaio will not be pinned down by PV, and that gives away his position as well, as PV will be having a bit of a respawn from the side of Silent, and it's going to be Panic will be finished off and eliminated as second last place at 13th spot.
Whew, that is The team's just dropping like flies at this moment, and we're not done yet. Aura just beside ONC, so they're going to get passed by each other, but will it be worthwhile for them to take over this compound? Looking at the timing, 15 more seconds on the clock. Aura better do it quick, and we can see one of the players opening up to the high ground, getting as much information as possible, now being a checkpoint for himself. But we move over to Kuwari. So we have EXO together with CG next to each other. Archangel Predator still has Alec.
Up the nade, they're waiting for them to actually show up with their faces, face checking to a sort of AAP. Axo on the other hand popped himself and pulled over in between CG and AAP. In the meantime, Gascan is slowly coming in from the hills as well. Tragic just got himself in the smoke just to take himself a bit of a cover, but Jackson will cook up the snake. Feels like the perfect angle for it. It might actually not really clip it just yet. Didn't chuck down any of his HP from that explosion, but Tragic will stand up and go in and trying to find a cross fan as next contender. But Eons coming up from CG. Oh, Super Luke have been waiting on the second story for the longest time. Waited for a long time for somebody to step into this compound, but Axo taking this warehouse. Well, PE and the AAP coming out from the other end, but the one that should watch out for is going to be Gascan coming out from behind.
Too bad for MT. Totally didn't expect that. Going up to the second floor and there's someone waiting for him, but now we have a couple of teams on the outside. Alec almost taken down, and Alec will be eliminated. That means Archangel Predator, number 12 for them in this round. And look who eliminated them. It's going to be Gascan.
Bit detrimental when it comes to overall rankings last minute, as one called Jax is still trying to get out from there, find an exit out as the Blues are burning him off his back, but Jaxie will be actually hold down by the side of Tragic. There's no way for him to get out from there. Paradox spotted out on Nundus, trying to making sure that he cannot actually make a move forward, and still chasing the heck out of it. He's on his foot, chasing to the side of Nundus, who's driving the car vehicle straight into the compound of 4P. This is no way going anywhere well for the side of one call here, leaving out only Nandu, who's sharing the compound. Same goes for 4P. Is Aventon actually hear the audio cues coming out from the ground floor, but TNX actually have their vision straight towards the 4S as well.
Ooh, two teams on the southern side, as we can see here, just next to each other. 4S together with TNX. They definitely need to fight each other if they want to get into the circle. Shots fired from TNX. It will not connect just yet, but that gives away information towards 4S. Now they know where their opponents are at. 4S waiting for the right moment, but they need to do it quick. 40 more seconds before the zone puts pressure onto these two teams.
It's really burning on their side. We talk about not just the Blues, and the time is not on their side, and not just that, there's so many contenders. The moment they step into the safe zone here, it's not just TNX. The next one, there's going to be a lot more teams right across them. Shoe Horse will not be spotted. Oh, the hills is separating these two teams right now, but for how much longer? 4P on the other hand have a bit of a hike, spotted out Cheese and will burn him alive, but they want to go for the push. Flee away is trying to open up the space, and the rest of the team trying to carve their path towards a hike here, but Aura will not let that get by, as Paradox Elmaker making sure they got proning down, crouching here, and spotted out Fleeways when he jumps, slither of health, remains, but the Molotov will try to make sure Melka remains where he stands, come out on flank side, but the rest of Aurora will be blown to smithereens the moment they're being eliminated as an entire team out.
Oh, and Kang gets one for himself as well. So it looks like this compound is defended by Exo Clan. So they'll be okay for now within the circle. But speaking about the circle, look at this Gascan right smack in the middle of it with the compound still with a full squad. So they have a good opportunity to secure the chicken dinner. And plus, they can stop TNX from coming across to the other side.
To work around this circle, definitely got into the hands of Gascan. They've been holding there for the longest time. There is coming up from the southeast is going to be northeast is going to be coming up from 4Ps, but Trident on the other hand have a very clear pathway coming up from the northern side. It's not going to be a lot of problem for them, while the rest of the team are tunneling their vision towards what's in front of them instead. But TNX on the other end, they have to cross the street. There's an open street there. Then when they climb up to that small hill, it's going to be PE waiting on the other end. CJ, we do know for a fact he got himself quite a number of utilities still not being tossed around, but Kaya is bleeding out for the side of PE. Now they haven't got a way to resolve the matter to revive Kaya on the other hand, but TNX Brazen End will just going to give away those taps to the side of Gascan. They want this compound so bad, they want to challenge them, but trying to find any loose end they can actually get into Gascan's side.
Oh, at the same time, Snow was knocked down, so he needs to be picked up quickly. Well, they still have a vehicle, so they still have some room to play with to enter the circle. So it should be okay for them. They just need to be careful of Boy Maka on the right side of them. And now look at the crowd, Choo-Choo, on the left. A party is happening.
In about 3, we will make it 4, 5 even. 4 Samurais got those elevations, but in the meantime, the pits right on the outskirts of Quarry. The terrain is just multi-level, so hot for them to actually see through CG's right inside the compound. But CG is tunneling vision to the side of X, so they have to be extra careful about what's coming in the back line. PE on the then in between. Nobody actually spot them out just yet. But back to the side of 4P, they got this sort of elevations, but they're not right in the circle. They have to cut across Gascan first. But Gascan, having those 4 walls to work around such a solid compound, they are not giving that away easily. They're still in the center of it. Same goes for TNX. The only thing coming out from the southern side right now, taking a bit of exchange fire with 4S, creating such a long fight. But in the meantime, they have nothing to cover themselves except for those vegetation. They have to play alongside with the smokes. But the smoke will start to run out if they don't make a move as well.
15-second countdown, and 4 Samurai needs to make it quick. And they need to fight their way through. Not much space for them to play with at this point. Asma at the same time will be taken out by Luke. Nikos will knock down M0. But could M0 be stolen away by Murayama? It's going to be Murayama securing that elimination point.
And next to actually make a move forward, like it or not, they have to take a fight either way. But still, Lucid Frick will barely make it in. And that's going to be it. TNX eliminated next. We're down to only 8 teams here. 4P is now greeting Gas on the other end as well. He just finished with TNX, but it's not a problem for Gascan. They are more than ready to take the fight. They're done with the TNX, done and dusted, and sealed the wrap. But back to his 4Ps, how can they approach this warehouse? It's a solid warehouse, very high walls as well. So how to get in there? There's 2 entryway in, but the problem is it's heavily guarded by Gascan players.
Oh yeah, Gascan players. They got this compound secured. They still have full squad, and they got 6 elimination points so far. And they're not done yet though. Pretty sure they can gather more elimination points as they still have this fortress of theirs. 4P on the other hand looks like they're in trouble. Gobzovin knocked down. That shot from the high ground, just too much for him to handle.
They have to just divide their attention to a suicide right now. This is not the best timing possible. The moment they try to push into a side of Gascan's vicinity, that's the problem they have with backstabbers. But back to the side of 4 Samurais on the other hand, this watchtower, they're not giving it away. We're talking about they're taking 1 by 1 of PE players, but at the same time, it causing them heavy casualty on their side as well. The 4Ps and the 4S are in trouble right now, but in the meantime, for 4P, it's a more bigger problem.
No.
We're talking about them will be burned alive with that Molotov. Toss about by the side of Cal, but at the same time they couldn't make it. They're stuck in the corner of those walls. They couldn't climb up as well. Gascan right now having 10 those elimination and kills in the back. This is huge start for them in the final day.
Oh, that Molly chef's kiss just on point. My goodness, that was so good. But now 2 more seconds and we'll know the next phase of the circle. At this point, we got 4 teams left, and again, Gascan has the circle!
Just on top of Gascan, not just that, the AAP being eliminated early on. This is the time Gascan to push that gas all the way up to number 1 spot. Nobody's stopping them at the same time. AXO, the only team that actually have a contender towards the first place, living only with Kung right now to work things around. It feels like impossible to count, fighting alongside with so many players out there. 4S just eliminated him to smithereen. It's just within seconds. Now, for the 4 Samurais on the land, they do have a tree, but in the meantime, the heels splitting themselves from the rest of the teams out there. Trident have been going uncontested so far, coming up from the northern side. Now they're walking into this 3-way wall, but in the meantime, it's so hard to fish out Gascan players from this compound. They're still right on top of a circle. They're taking such a solid move, going straight into this only compound to work around this corner. They don't have the elevations, yes, but in the meantime, they can hear the audio cues fighting for 4S and Trident. They might actually getting this into their business as the third party.
Yeah, at this point, Gascan will be just chilling at their own compound, trying to take over, trying to take those elimination points from afar. But the focus will be on Trident versus 4S right now. Trident and 4S must fight with each other before they move into the compound. If not, they'll be shot down 4-4. This could be super interesting as both teams still staying strong. But just wants up for himself, gets a knockdown to Gem.
Both teams, the ones winning is going to be Gaskan right now, but both of them have to struggle to keep the boat afloat. They have to survive here. For some, and just some, is down. We're leaving us alone. Trying to versus Gaskan right now. Gaskan, the best timing possible for them is actually make a rush. They still not live in the compound just yet, but trying to have a bit of space to reset themselves. Got a bit of an upgrade of loot from these death boxes as well. But Gregshot and Cow already pushed themselves up towards the flank side of a hill. Might actually spot out Snow and Gem. Well, the other two coming out from a different angle entirely. Try to compress Trident from two different angles right now.
Ooh, Gascan, look at this. Opening up their parameters, going up to the high ground, sending two of them. While two stays guard on the left side, on the lower ground. But we'll see where the next phase of the circle will be at this point. Gascan, they are conquering this area. But then again, they are up against an opponent that has equal manpower, 4v4. The circle moves slightly up to the high ground. This will kind of force Gascan to move.
Control of the circle right now. Feels like they're holding free reign over this compound, but Trident, Mila still not giving it away easily. They're trying to open up a bit of space, maybe make an entry for the rest of the team, but they have to pick play out. But Mukau just coming up from the blind spot entirely from the back line. Nobody has a clue. This 2-2 split come up from Gaskan, making such trouble for Trident to scout them out. Those hills, those elevations will hinder them from seeing Gaskan from the other side of a hill here. Jam proning down, trying to just find a shot to his side of Greg, but it just feels impossible at this stage. Trident, they have to divide the Tasha into two right now. Now, too much focus of him given to us the side of a flank. They have to remember there is a full squad come out from Gaskan. They just distracted to a side, Greg and also Mukau. Nikos and Luke will actually take the lead to actually push on the other end.
Looks like Gascan is starting to play the patience game. They're waiting for Trident to come towards them because Trident will be pressured by the blue. And even after this, when the next phase, the circle will close entirely. Will be won by the long range shot from Greg. Gets one for himself. Beautiful. Taking out Jam.
And for more, Nikos will try to finish off Snow. Snow barely hanging on towards the gate and finally being knocked down.
That is it.
Salty the furthest away. There's the blue zone. He doesn't have any vehicles to work around. Still got one down on knock. But it's not translated into 1 point just yet. Salty just trying to fight against the wall of gas cans right now. There's gases everywhere. He's smothered. He's suffocating himself here. Within the blue zone, within the play. He's just going to deny the point. And that's just it. He's just going to deny this. But Greg's still secure. And Trident has a hill. Eliminating with 13 kills by far. Gascan. This will push them at number 1 effortlessly. And that was a great run coming up from this team.
Absolutely. Gas cans. They got a chicken dinner in their last game yesterday, and now they're starting off with a bang today. I mean, Gas Can, like what you said, they're stepping on it. They're stepping on the gas to chase up onto Archangel Predator. Very sure with this chicken dinner and with that amount of elimination points, they would definitely have caught up to Archangel Predator by now. So Archangel Predator, they'll be sweating their pants looking at Gas Can. Man, starting off strong today. Good job, Gas Can.
And primary objective for today, you know what, we get the strongest compound. It was impeccable timing for them to get in there in the first place. They were uncontested. Nobody can take their fortress away from them time by time, so many times, and multiple teams trying to take them down from those compound. Yes, it's like a pet. It's sort of not having those elevation, but it's a strong, very strong hold for these guys. We're talking about Gascan know when to pick out. The moment they're splitting the 2-2 formation, it was the perfect timing. The moment trying to finish off another team entirely. And the way they pick is just so flawlessly well done. We talk about the entire team having such a clean win this time. All 4 of them still alive.
Yeah, not giving any points to anyone else. Even Trident couldn't get anything out of them. So yeah, but the good news, at least that slight bit of good news for Trident is that they managed to get a second place, which is an improvement for them as compared to yesterday. And they managed to deny that final point away from Gascan. But anyway, I I mean, it's a good effort there, but Trident, gotta give it to them. They managed to defend their high ground as well. So it was definitely good effort from Trident. And this is what we talk about, like teams on page number 2, right? Like they have nothing to less to lose. So then they're showing it right now. So Trident, if they can continue this on, maybe they can at least have a first page finish.
I'm loving for the fact that Trident stepping up the game here. We talk about them losing a lot of momentum yesterday. We haven't seen a lot of them showing up when it comes to the last few minutes or in the top 5 or having that consistency going on. But today Trident showing us a different side of them. They had it going. They're coming up from a very long rotation from the northern side, not contested, but at the same time they're playing it smart. We're talking about strategic game here. Nothing can go wrong as long as you survive in PUBG, right? It's all about the survivability and just last long enough to get those points. Regardless of how much the point later on or how much elimination you can get, it's still a point regardless of that. But when it comes to a different teaming, behind like definitely off angle and the blind.
But another counterfight coming in from the...
So, but in the meantime, this smoke will cover them for about of a circle. It's
Yeah,
so
those were those big moves,
It's
right?
so
So
from
like what we can
something
see a
there,
lot of
definitely with that lead.
looking good for
Drive
Archangel
and
Predator.
shoot.
They
I
are
wouldn't say
losing
run and gun, but
bodies,
drive
and
and
that is
shoot. Got
one of the
into the
moments
off
where
angle,
Archangel
but
Predator,
Silent
unfortunately,
in
they
the
got
field.
eliminated fairly early on, I would say. I believe it was number 14 or something.
Either way, but still, Lucid Frick will problem they have in the backstab. But 4P is a more bigger problem.
no.
We're talking about them will be burned alive with that Molotov toss about by the side of Cal. But at the same time,
Being strong, but just someone suffers.
play it out, but
One, but the
one, and that's just it. Audio was actually in there, but it was some jiffy times, as always. A bit of a hiccup here and there, but that's the fun part of some tournaments sometimes. But back about our first place, which is going to be Gascan now leading it off at number 1 with 10-point gap in between AAP. You got eliminated quite early just now. Now, even though they got eliminated early on, but still AAP to actually stand still at second spot, it's still not that too harsh for them still.
yeah, it's still close enough, I would say. I mean, the point gap between some of the top few teams are close enough. So with 4 more games to go, anything can happen. And as we review the match ranking, Gascan did manage to get 23 points in that one round. So that's a good round there by Gascan, collecting 13 elimination points. They have not been stopping. Pretty much yesterday was a good run for them, especially the second half. So now they are continuing on, and this is what we talk about, teams with a lot of experience. Gascan is one of it. They know how to come back.
Just that they know when and where to actually sit themselves in when it comes to the timing. We saw so many teams kind of struggles in the blue zone as well. They try to get across, but there's so many gatekeepers the moment they step into it, and at the same time the blue zone are always not your friend. It's just so much pressure for this guy to actually get into it. They want to go into the safe zone, but at the same time there's so many teams are denying for that fact and have to put a hold for it before they actually move into it in the first place. But still, nonetheless, a huge win coming up from Gascan, but at the same time the margin is still not that big yet. We're talking about the gap they want to pull themselves from the others. Speaking of that number 1 spot, it's still reachable just within one match or one map for the side of AAP or even Axo Clan to actually catch up at this point.
Yeah, it only takes one round, right? Even for Trident, if you gotta think about it, like this second place finish with a decent number of elimination points, the teams at the bottom are not safe as well, because like we did talk about like the points to collect, the PGC points to collect. So these teams, even at the bottom, they'll be still fighting for those PGC points, and with Trident performing like that, it's great for them. And a second place finish is not only today. Yesterday in their last round, they got a second place finish as well. So they're starting to find a level of consistency that is also scary for the teams at the bottom half.
It's quite scary if you're actually in the middle pack as well and you're always being the victim. In this case, there's some teams that always being one of the teams are being targeted to be finished off early on, and maybe some teams are dropping themselves at a hot spot as well. We're talking about some teams who are actually trying to challenge these teams when it comes to getting those initial drops, but we're not going to waste any more time. We're dropping ourselves straight into the next wrangle because we want to see, is there any contenders outside from AAP and Gascan, and now merging into the #1 spot and making a twist of a plot in the last minute, in the very 11th hour, at the last wire. We're talking about, will there be a different team entirely taking over that #1 spot in like within just one map? Imagine if Gascan and also AAP been pushed down by these teams, right? And they could make it. What I mean, like, the fan will be devastated for that, but at the same time, imagine if that really happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is still possible because we got like 4 more rounds to go. EXO Clan's one of them who could contest. Maybe ONC or One Call. It depends on how the next 4 rounds will go. So, like what we always say, even if you're #1 at this point, and even though if you're like a lot of experience and you have a big name and so on and so forth, but it's never comfortable being up there until all the maps are done. So right now we can see that a couple of teams actually drop onto the military base island. We can see at least 3 already in it. Might be joined by another 2 that drop into Novo. Kind of crowded down there.
Due to the flight path itself favoring to the southern part, feels like a very similar flight path from the last one as well. Now that makes us asking the bigger question, and where will the circle pops? Because if it happens to be a very similar one, we might actually have a lot of teams trying to venture out northern side this time, because just now we only witnessed Trident coming up from the northern side. Nobody actually contesting them. It's a clear pathway to get into the safe zone in the first place. But Sonovska Island again, SMB. We're talking about 3 teams, 4, make it 4. Axo is dropping himself there as well. So if the circle comprises of SMB, it would be great for them to actually make it a choke point. But including this here, imagine, I don't know how crazy or how insane this circle might get, but it just happened to be in between those bridges. It's going to be really troublesome for the team to actually get into SMB or even cross that bridge in the first place.
You know what? It will be even crazier once the fight in Novo unfolds, because it's between EXO Clan and Archangel Predator. This is insane. I mean, the happiest bunch of the top teams will be Gascan. They'll be like, yeah, great, you eliminate each other. We'll be smiling looking at the elimination feed, and we'll just be like, hey, thank you so much for the #1 spot. Unless it is maybe Archangel Predator that eliminates EXO Clan. But for now, it's still a stalemate, and the circle is somewhat within Novo. So this might take a while though, but let's not take too long. If not, the bridge might get crowded.
I do wish both team part ways right now, go for this engagement and just gonna go themselves into different places. But they were talking about this team who love to fight so much. There's no way for them to actually back down from this fight. Evil Patrick being spotted out by Sarvant on the side flank here, just crossing over a different building entirely. But Skokita and Ken want to just secure those eliminations, want to secure those kills. They want to translate into that 1 point. But at the same time, this put AAP on alert mode. They are taking this very meticulously, slowly crouching and slowly trying to approach Patrick to just revive him. But in the meantime, Axel Klein start to breach in from the back line. Kang and Amps already placed himself right across AAP there. Bot spotted out, the rest of them start to breach in. Now they're having smaller space. They're being wrapped around the corners. Axo in a trouble.
Yeah, look at this. The push is starting to happen. Look at this. The movement from Arjun bots moving towards the right. No vehicles around for him to try to get away. At least not close enough for him to do so. EXO Clan, they're moving in as a squad. They're clearing house by house. At the same time, on the other side, our second place winners from the previous round, Trident, going to start it off well as well. Possibly with their first elimination for this round. And they are trying to secure it onto CG. Superlook's on the other side though, but Superlook not in a position yet to take revenge.
Nice how Jam split it with the rest of the team right now and can easily just flee away from the crime scene unscathed and not punished, not even being touched here. I'm not sure if they can actually revive in the meantime. We're back to a sort of EXO and AAP. AAP start to have to back up for a bit, have to pull back, go for a retreat, and slowly just giving away this apartment to the side of Axo. Where Axo still want to go for the push, but we want to know how much resources they have, because they barely have the time to loot up, and they just barely have enough for their magazines as well. We're talking about no grenades, no smokes, and not much of health utilities. Now, this might be punishing for them if AAP just decided to respond back with the aggressiveness. But for now, None playing a bit more safer, going around the walls and just trying to toss over that nade across that window. Now, if this hits, it's gonna hurt on the side of Axo so hard because they barely have enough to live by.
Yeah, if only our interpreter has the numbers to just rush in and punish them back, but unfortunately numbers not on their side. So that's why you can see that our interpreter playing a little bit more passive as compared to their opponent. None still not spotted up by Exo Clan. But the Sita looking down at the mini screen. Looks like another fight happening. CJ may lose super look, whereby they'll be hunted down by APH. Last man standing in this compound, and there it goes.
Side of CG right now. There's only left, there's only a duo. 7 says quite too far off to give extra hand. Just gonna part ways and just survive for the longest time he can. On the side of Exo, we didn't mention about them. This might be detrimental. They're forcing the fight too much, and AAP decides to fight back. They're just gonna keep on tossing those nades. They loot it way more than Exo did, leaving only Kang and Goose to actually survive, but lucky enough, not decided to actually just finish off that one knockdown and translate into 1 point. But in the meantime, we do have CF Huge come out from the flank. This is punishing for both teams.
Wait a second. The last time we saw CF, they were on the southern side of the military base island, and now they're rotating towards Novo with the high ground just on the outside of Novo. They'll take advantage of anyone's coming up, but Aljin not getting a clear shot just yet, but he knows that someone's there. Tossing in a stun grenade, and now he's going in for the rush. Oh, but he's punished, and Algager predicted number 16. Oh no!
Got himself at pre-fire angle, but I just couldn't make it in time. One team being eliminated within such short amount of time, but we're not done with CG versus APH just yet, as CG will want to survive. They're fighting the compound so hard, defending
to the right.
as long as they can with an only red dot scope. Now Chicha Gaming still gonna survive this. This is taking a bit of a toll on APH, even though they're having only 2 men, but CG finally being eliminated at the hands of APH. A bit of casualty, but it's not a bit of a problem for them, as they can easily revive Rudovin, provided there's no more team coming over to this compound.
Yeah, they're praying right now, then no other teams crash into them. So far, so good. But on the other hand, looking at 4S, they're being overlooked at by TNX from the high ground. So it's going to be a little bit tough for them. For Samurai, they do have a compound in the circle, so they're kind of okay for now. Trying to spot out where their opponents are. But look at the spread there by TNX. I mean, they got multiple angles covered, so it's going to be tough for them to come out of the compound if they need to.
Agree. But feels like these guys are more than ready to adapt whatever the situation is. It's the reason why they're here in this tournament in the first place. But on the side of Snow, just being attacked to a side of APH, who just finished and wrapped things up against CG just now. And being charged by another team from behind, playing around the crates and pits on the side of the other team. Trident, they merge up on the top 2 just now, giving them so much of a boost, and still on the rush of adrenaline to try and find the victims being the prey. On the side of SL, Solution is trying to find himself a bit of a solution to cut across the side of CF, who's actually guarding towards that side, and might be a bit of a choking point for those who want to cross that bridge. Look at how they're spreading themselves into quite far from each other, but they're more than confident to take the fight in case they needed to. Huge and Rue feels like they will reunite with the rest of Invis and try to reassess exact those taps coming out from, and might just try to rush in. But we do have another visitor at the back line as well. SL might actually get caught up in a death trap if they don't try to move themselves for Hachi Solution.
Oh, but at least they're all in the circle, so that's kind of okay. I was kind of expecting the CF to follow that left route just by the beach into Milta, but looks like they didn't do that, but that's okay. I mean, to everyone's comfort, For them to take out that compound that they just did, that's okay as well. At least that gives them a kind of like a fortress for teams who want to come on the Novo Bridge onto the main peninsula, so that they can try to shoot them down, so they can collect points from there. Either way is kind of fine as well. But looking at the current circle, the last we saw it is still in comprises like the bridge area. So Novo teams might not want to move that fast. They might want to take a chill pill to see how the circle may shift. And speaking about the circle shifts, 20 seconds and we'll find out. My prediction is that the circle might end up in the main peninsula.
True. It depends on the hot shift, really. If it ended up right in between for the bridges, it's going to be really tormenting the players when it comes to the last and final day here. For as the Samurais taking a compound and within this vicinity, it's not just done. We talk about TNX 2 horse. It'll be a bit split from the rest of the team just to scat out. Well, I don't want to say I jinxed it, but it might actually ended up there as we're splitting this circle into two different islands entirely. Gas cannon on the other end, coming up from back line, might actually bulldozing 4Ps from behind. But at the same time, we do have APH and Trident coming out of the north. It's always Trident coming out from the northern side. But Gas cannon wants to spot out if there's any sort of contender right across them. They spot out a couple of players. Piggies will reply to his greeting with a couple of taps just to say hello at the same time. But this gives away so much information on the gas can site. They're more than aware there's going to be so much people right across them, so taking things a bit slower than usual.
I'll be interested to see what happens to the two teams at the south, because in the tournament mode for PUBG, there will not be any like a water circle. It will end up on land, 100%. So looking at the current circle, it's very likely we'll get a northern or main peninsula land, and that will force like the two teams on the southern side to actually cross the bridge by that time, because the circle damage will be just too high by then. Maybe the third or maybe the fourth phase of the circle. So it's something that they will need to be prepared for.
Speaking of, well, are they prepared for this? Because these guys, these boys with gas cans, gonna sit quietly. If they're coming in late into the party, but they are crashing it from the back line. It depends on how aggressive they want to get, but they're definitely coming in a bit of a longer rotation, taking an unorthodox approach, and just make sure they don't get easily spotted out. They know for a fact that just now the information coming out from the other side of a team, just tapping it away back to them. Know for a fact there's so many teams out, but you know what, we're taking a long rotation. But back to a side of Trident, these are the teams that love the shortcut, so they're gonna go straight into the walls and cut it across them. Don't have a care, they will bold and brazen, just make it through the compound. You know what, we don't want to waste time, but at the same time, they do have Salty to kneel himself down. The rest of the team will actually have the time to just pick him back up due to he barely actually make it into this compound, into the building. But SL definitely will try to finish them off straight away. Got himself that one knockdown. Same goes for Axo, leaving that Novo and now trying to climb up the hills and try to spot out if there's any other teams aside from PE that will try to take them down at the same time.
Yeah, good move here by Exo Clan, because if they go straight out, PE will be able to shoot them down. So it looks like their plan is like, okay, let's take down PE first before we move in. But little do they know, Kyle is waiting up in this highest peak of the mountain, sees the rotation, has information, his teammates, we can see that going towards Exo Clan, and they're stopping by. Looks like we'll see a fight here before the move onto the main peninsula happens.
No silent, nowhere to run, no hide, no rushing in and grab it in. Axo just gonna push and bulldoze themselves in, and that's just within 5 seconds lost, gone, and sitting ducks for the side of one PE player. But PE now himself want to have a bit of redemption, want a bit of a damage control out of that, but Magic caught himself in hot spot there, leaving CJ and Kaio left, and Kaio not gonna just leave this high ground just yet, but to climb down from there is gonna be a bit of a task for him. CJ tapping out to his side of Axo, not happy his mate being knocked down and finished off just now. Next one gonna be a bit of a try between these two guys. Oh man, and both teams are quite far off from the circle still. The Blues will close in less than a minute. They have to wrap things up and not extend the fight.
Nice tap there with an MK12 from afar. Beautifully landed and managed to get one. But these two teams, they're not done yet though. But at least the good news is that their sniper from PE has to move. So Exo Clan doesn't need to be worried too much about the high ground. Namsel's coming in from the other side, spots out Goose. And looks like it's not going to take the shot just yet. No clear shot thanks to the smokes. At the same time, we can see that Exoclad, they're moving away, going towards CJ18.
Not done with a PE now. CJ is known for this clutches. He can make it happen, but it's going to be 2v1. He's outnumbered. Going for an exit back out. CJ trying to flee from the senior. Playing around these walls. Hugging around the corners. Bagus coming in strong. And just making sure it's right in the face of none other than the PE players. But Namsa coming up from a different angle and trying to wrap around the corners. KO from the high grounds. Spot out by Axo. Axo now just put themselves in a death trap. But PE can't be knocked down. Leaving only Skukita alive. Trying to revive and give them a bit more offset. But Namsa pushing in slowly. But the Blues are closing in as well. KO will be the sacrificial lamb for this. Oh, but at the same time, there's going to be a heavy casualty on both teams.
I hate to break it to these teams, but the circle is nowhere to be seen on this military base island. So that means they need to move. Heading on the force player circle is going to be damaging. The damage is going to be real. Namsel shoots. Namsel gets counterfire upon. Namsel needs to reset quickly. Can he do it in time as Squikita moves and takes him out? And that is going to be it for PE at number 14.
Right now, there's definitely no time. We're talking about Turf Face, definitely going to burn him off quite alive. I hope they have those vehicles parked somewhere else. Right now, they really need a car. They really need those vehicles to keep it going because it's going to be the next island they have to hop themselves onto. Not just that, we have Bridge Camper, CF waiting on the other end of the bridge. Well, we have also Panic coming up to a sort of APH, and one call is splitting a 2-2 formation to fight against Gas Can. And it's going to be a full force of Gas Can pushing towards side of one call. But we do have another visitor coming up from the northern side of Gascan. It's going to be FTF from the future, coming up from the past and now venturing into the present and hoping to stay alive in the future. We'll try to force this fight, splitting then divided the attention into two parts. And Gascan, how will they pick this fight going on? How do they approach? How will they respond to one call and FTF at the same time?
Oh, look at the current situation. Looks like they need to take that fight. That fight's going to be necessary. Exocloud, on the other hand, they're just going to drive past by. He's waiting for the right moment as Skukita had to stop. And look at this shoot. They are not within the circle. USC takes down Skukita. One more to go at the bridge.
Sniper rifle, that car 98. Making so much work done to open up CF to cut across. Axo have to give it away. They couldn't actually make it in. Down to only Goose to swing over. There's nowhere else to get into this island anymore. Goose have to figure out with the Blues and closing in, it burning him very much. Gas Can, on the other hand, picking their poison here. It's going to be one call, not fighting FTF. It's going to pushing forward to the side of Mukau. Got knocked down instead with a nade toss over the side of one call.
Nice.
Jackson Nanda, do you want to push and finish off a double down? Luke have to flee. He has to back and retreat. But Luke burned off by the gas and the cans is down. That Marley will burn him quite alive, leaving only one player of gas can. At the back line, Nico spots out those windows, but he couldn't do too much of a damage there. Have to flee, have to take the vehicle and just get out from here. That's the only way for him to actually stay alive for now.
And Gascan is still without a single elimination point, so he has to get away. But now, one call will make the call for them. They will be taken out at number 12. Now we move over to BNC versus APH just next to each other without the circle. And now they need to find their way through as PV goes down.
Having any time to reset themselves, leaving Cherry to do all the work here. Sant just making sure he keep the pressure on the side of Cherry and finish off the rest of the members. But one call taking the fight next to the side of FTF. Nandu now sneaking him out. Oh, they're trying to fish them out and flush down this compound right now. A fell flush for now for the FTF team, still holding their fortress. The small fortress they have, the walls are working around the corners. And Jaxie trying to just playing ring around the rosy. Wrap things around their different corner entirely, but man, might want to sport out. There's gonna be one more need. Moy just biding his own time here. Last member alive for the side of FTO. Never mind, it's gonna be two of them working as a duo. Jaxie spot one number out.
Oh, to the left.
He's gonna burn it down and back up. Oh, the timing was just impeccable for FTF.
There's nothing much that Pusher can do at that moment unless he clutch it out 1v2. But at the same time, he's looking at the circle, 20 more seconds on the clock. FTF resetting themselves, preparing for the next phase of the circle. Pusher it, not pushing it just yet. He doesn't have the right information. He needs to get a knockdown at least. Now he knows exactly where they are at, but Pusher it will be pushed back with the nade. Pusher it, can he get one for himself? No, he almost got it, but not good enough.
Retreat, but the member who wants to exit out from the back is going to be a Blues closing in. Now, how can Pusher get himself into the circle safe and sound? I do hope he's just going to hop onto the vehicles, just flee here, but at the same time, the moment he starts the engine, it's going to attract the one call team to just go for the push. He has to deal with by himself for Pusher it. FTF. Not giving any sort of loose end at all. APH coming out from the other end entirely trying to get himself into the safe zone as well, but more being spotted out by Pusher it. The moment he got himself one knockdown, this is it. For Pusher it's close enough. Slither of health remains, but Pusher still struggling for his survival here. Playing around the walls. 2 more mat kits.
Oh, can you do it quick? Oh no, he wasn't particularly prepared for that, but there wasn't much options for him anyway. But now we move over to the other side of the map. 3 teams next to each other. Mira still holding on for his team Trident at this point, but Trident's being shot at from multiple angles. Starlight, Hayase pick up his teammate. Hayase managed to get an elimination onto Jam from Trident, but at the same time the zone is closing. Hayase has to bail his teammates, unfortunately, and move in alone.
Because right now they are the one kind of ham in between. They have this sort of slope over hill, just very small ones to actually play alongside with it. They are in the open road right now. They have their backs bare, handed to the side of the other team, but Trident Miller on the ground being knocked down by XL. They have to worry about 4 Samurais at the back line, splitting into 2-2 formation on the side of 4 Samurais. 4P is there as well. But in the meantime, Trident have to fight against XL. They're not making it easy for them to cross over that road. But Hardison running is back in the blue. Will be knocked down, finished off by Trident. And Trident in the same boat, in the same spot. And 4 Samurais taking the advantage of what's happening on the side of Trident, not even giving them any time to reset or recuperate. But 4 Samurais joining with another 4P here. The 4P's pushing to a side of CF on the shoreline. Huge. Have this much to cover himself and buy a bit more time. But he's been surrounded left, right, and center. Nowhere to run.
Oh, QSC all alone and Fleaways. Should have seen him though. Okay, I guess he knows. Yes, there goes the spray, and USC will be taken out. Charm Farmers, number 7.
Trying to just get themselves a bit of an upgrade from the death boxes around them. And 4S versus 4P next. So Fleo is splitting a bit too far off from the rest of the team just to scap their perimeters. But Snow coming up from Trident. Now that's going to be a really tough spot for him to stay alive. The moment he hops out, and it's going to be an open field. Only haystacks in between. Nothing to cover himself. Murayama being knocked down from afar. TN next struggling to run from the blue zone. They got that buggy, but they don't have enough to hop it in. They need to make a big U-turn. Shihorse barely make it in with slither of health remains. They do have smokes to just deploy it over and just cut across those smokes. But will it be enough? We talk about an open field, very flat plain, and only vegetations in between to make themselves into the safe zone, into the circle. Where are the rest of the team? We're waiting for Af to make a move as well. But Snow is just giving away his position. He don't have any choice anymore, just popping off that couple of smokes. But TNS slowly make way towards the other side. Look at how the smokes been deployed. It's in straight line of smoke and making a bridge over it and just going to push over sort of FTF.
And what doesn't help is the road in the middle cutting across the circle. So that's going to be tough for some teams depending on how the circle moves later on. But now focusing on the 10X, they're trying to find their way through. They know that someone's there waiting for them. Speedy being shot at, almost got that 21 health left. Asma needs to reset. Asma being shot at as well. Shoehorse not letting them go easy. Shoehorse trying to find a different angle, but there's not much space to play with. They still need to fight their way through.
Side of TNX, but FTF, they are pretty much walking themselves to that trap as well. 4 Samurai being clipped from afar. Long fights are going on. The moment they got himself a 4 scope, 6 times scope, we know for a fact it's going to be a very long fight. TNX spotted out man, the last remaining survivor coming out from FTF, but in the meantime, not much space for him to cover himself. And JO keep pushing on the side of SLI, just gonna keep it going. 4S, what is happening? They're knocked down by themselves, not the best time ever. A small shack, yes, a shack will cover them for a bit more, but it's the worst timing possible as well.
Yeah, it's not the best of times considering that TNX is just behind them. Unfortunately, they had to jump out of the vehicle as well. It was smoked up. But speaking about smoke, smoke's deployed, trying to buy time for themselves. TNX trying to find it difficult. Looks like they can't just rush in. They don't have the right information at the same time. 4P stopping their tracks as Flee Away gets a knockdown to jail.
Opportunity here for 4P. This is just being the housekeeping team, cleaning up the mess in the center. Rance Flee Away, spot him out. The Mini 14 just trying to find those kills. But it's just so hard to scout them out. Even though it's an open field in between, the Samurais just venture out in an open field there with a small shack in between. TNX, Arsbar will revive his teammate. Vanton coming up from the flank side, trying to go for off angles. APH not being given enough attention right now. 4Ps on the other hand do have full squad alive, but barely having the space to push in just yet. They're waiting for the right time to go in for the rush.
Yeah,
Separated in between with the street, but Vanton just keep the tags, keep the taps, and Gops finish off one more from the sidelines. Look how they spread over 4 piggies. They definitely have more than confident enough to go for the rush. Still taking in time.
Well, looks like there's not much space to play with as well. Look at the beach on the left side. There's such an open space that teams would normally not play or normally not prioritize. So that means that this area that has a little bit of elevation will be the focal point. Got 4 teams in it. Nate being tossed out onto the other side. Speedy picking up his teammates, but Gobs on the other end. Gobs shoots and Asma will be taken out. Looks like TNX, they are still pinned down, but Baby Zio being gunned down from the other side.
Just nowhere for them to run and hide at this point. Everywhere there's somebody watching them out there. Vanton on the other end going and punish after multiple times stabbing to the side of the Samurais. Fat is on the ground bleeding out while the rest of them try to take covers inside of that small shack. Pig is taking reign over this domination of the map control of the circle. Now they want to go for the push. They hop onto their vehicle, slowly going towards, wrapping around the corners to the side of the Samurai, leaving only one player left. Now how will this come out from Murayama? Pig is Gop slowly coming in towards the shack, coming up from the back line as well. There's no way out. This is their game for 4 Piggies. There's no way they can lose this one out, then that's it. The chicken dinner, the 4Ps and the 4S taking it away in the last minute here. A different team entirely taking this chicken dinner on the last day.
Wow, in the previous round, it was Trident who was on page number 2, getting a second place finish. And now it is 4 Piggies, another team on page number 2, netting that chicken dinner. With it talk about teams on page number 2 may just go insane, may just go ballistic, and this is what's happening here. So far so good today for teams on page number 2, with 4P now securing this chicken dinner, the second chicken dinner for today. Doing well, such a good start for them. And despite them maybe a little bit far from getting the number 1 spot, but let's not forget about the PGC points still on the line.
When it comes to AAP, they're being eliminated again early on. We're talking about AAP losing their top spot in the start of the day and just losing it 2 maps in a row. Now that's going to be detrimental. We're talking about them being pulled down from the chart slowly but surely. Just now it was like 10-point gap. Right now, I'm not sure how much with it, because Gascan being eliminated early on as well. It's not like too early, but at the same time they were in the middle sort of a game where they kind of got some elimination still, but we have to wait for those points to show up here to see, is it going to be enough for Gascan to solidify themselves in number 1 spot? Can the others, for example, Exoclan has been fighting early on against APH, if I'm not mistaken, was it the first few skirmishes that we witnessed early on? Exoclan, they are thriving to make it work. We're talking about them trying to force those fights just to take those number up there with those kills. Even though they, you know what, they don't care about those chicken anymore. They want to go for those kills.
Yeah, looking at how their playstyle is, and plus they eliminated the number one team for the past couple of days. That is Archangel Predator, so that's a statement there by EXO Clan. But would it be enough points for them to catch up to the number one spot? Maybe not yet, but they are making progress. So with the talk about the potential of Cinderella story teams, EXO Clan may be one of them, considering that Gascan, they didn't do that well in this round. But here are the highlights from the previous round. I mean, it's a lot of action all around, I must say. One happened inside of Novo, on the other on the main peninsula, and it just went all the way to the final circle.
Really challenging for the players. We're talking about extreme circles here in between those two islands. Which one will you select? You pick the wrong choice, you make the wrong call from the IGL, the wrong judgment. It's gonna be punishing the entire team. We saw how many teams kind of stuck on the side of SMB or Sonos coming to base area on the southern part of the island. It just decided, you know what, the circle just not gonna favor us. It's in between the bridge as well. And the moment they decided to swim, the blue zone's already in. As a case of a most team that are being gatekept on the other side of a bridge. And I think that it was CF, if I'm not mistaken, that has been bridge camping the longest time there is there. Just shushing away, like example here, I think EXO Clan coming up from the southern part still can actually get those eliminations. But when it comes to elimination, the only team that actually got himself a double digit is still going to be 4PGs, yeah. But we want to see how will they fare. Where will they stand by the end of this map and this round in the overall rankings?
I'm looking over at EXO Clan getting 8 points from that round. So 8 points, not enough to overtake the number one spot just yet. But for the fact that Gascan and Archangel Predator not picking up any points, of course the gap will be smaller. So we'll be closer. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the following 3 rounds left that we have. And that also means that anything can happen. And nice to see that teams on page number 2 just stepping it up. So 4P, very well done with 21 points. Look at the gap between them and number 2. So it's like what? 19 point gap gathered from this round. That's significant, I must say.
It's a lot. Way too much for one team. And this, I want to see where 4Ps will be standing here right now. They were in one of those teams in the middle bracket here. So they are still on the 10th spot. Regardless of how much they actually contributed to the overall ranking just now, they were in the bottom before this and keeping them with the tie with themselves. But for now, lucky enough for Gascan, the AAP being eliminated as well as early as they do, then none of them actually gain any points from that point as well. So it's still a 10-point gap in between them, but EXO is chasing the heck out of second and first place. We're talking about the margins getting closer for the side of EXO. It's just like, what, 5 points away from the side of EXO to AAP and just like 15 points in difference. That's going to be just one map enough for EXO to take that number one spot anytime here.
Yeah, that could just, it could just be one round and they'll overtake the number one. So, but for one call, the gap is quite significant. So I think it's a little bit difficult for them considering how the top teams are doing right now. So I do expect that it's probably going to be between the top 3 for that number one spot at this point. But again, we did talk about the PGC points mean a lot as well to the teams for their the future of their year's campaign. So they still need to go and fight for it. Even if ONC can get a number 3 spot, stealing it away from whoever, they'll be great still.
One call is still it's all about, I mean, like the gap is a bit too significant and quite big of a gap. The margin is quite large between them and the third place. So we're talking about 30-ish sort of a point that we witnessed just now. But when it comes to the side of EXO Clan, is within reach. And not just that, we're talking about this next map. It's going to be the last Erangel map that is in this finals. And we're done with Erangel after that the entire day. Because heading next is going to be, after this map, the 4th map will be starting off in Mirama, which is going to be entirely different terrain, entirely different sort of a vibe. You do know for a fact you have to adjust within seconds for these guys. They don't have a rest. We're not having any breaks in between these games. We're just going to go all out rumbling all day, and it's going to be really challenging to rumble for these guys as well. We're talking about, can they still stay at number 1? Who will get number 1 spot? I'm loving how we're down to the last wire to see who will take away that slot for the PGS in the future.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And plus, this is, of course, called the Challenger Rumble for a reason. So it's definitely a rumble of a challenge for these teams. My oh my. It's always fun to see like if until the last map, like we don't have a clear winner. So teams will really fight it through, and it's always fun to see that. So hopefully we get to see that kind of action for, of course, entertainment purposes. And looking at how the overall chart is shaped, it's still heading that way. And speaking about heading, we are not going to waste any time, Choo. We are jumping straight into game number 3, which will be the last Erangel map for PUBG Challenger Rumble Season 1.
You know what? To make it faster, we're not jumping anymore. We are flying straight and just taking a jet straight flying into the side of Erangel. We're not wasting any second here. And not just that, it's going to be the last one. It's going to be everything that you love about Erangel. This last map, for the teams that love Erangel so much, this is their last time to make it work. And lucky enough, we're having a flight path that's very generous, almost splitting the map into 2 parts evenly. Closing out, still favoring towards the southern part just a tiny bit. But there's a dropping. If the circle happens to be on the northern side, that's going to be a bit of a trouble for them again.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of that yesterday, right? So let's see if it happens again today. So at least a generous flight path to begin with. But what's going to be important is the circle, of course. And looking at how the teams are dropping this time around, military base isn't the focus. Only one team is our military base, and that's going to be 4S. So they're going to have the entire island for themselves. But it's going to be interesting around the areas of school. We might see a clash there. I'm looking at the Medusa intersection as well. Looks pretty interesting. Archangel Predator is switching it up and dropping around the areas of Gatka. So they're going to switch up their strategy this time. But of course, what's going to be important is going to be the circle. I can't wait to see how it's going to be. But Panic Esports taking a couple of shots. No one's knocked down yet. Everyone's still A-OK.
Of a hot drop, but this circle today for Erangel just favors on the right side of the map heavily. Still comprises of both, barely on the southern part of the island, but you know what, the hardship can be just punishing sometimes. It's down to the players whether they want to take the southern part, or those that actually in the small island can take their own time to get into a bit of a late rotation. Just take it slow, take it as calm as they want, and just relax themselves and get into the circle when they need it to. But on the side of, you mentioned about the Medusa intersection, especially the school area, it's always a fight over there. There's always going to be more than one team to take over that compound and trying to fight and rumble it over. But on the side of Gascan, they're taking their own time to actually take out all the loot that they can now. For you, Cloud, right now, which team do you think is going to go crazy and reckless for the next one? Looking at the second page, teams start to rise up to the occasion and moving more proactively and being aggressive today.
Wow, I mean, I want to see like Aurora and Chicha really stepping it up. We have 3 more rounds to go. Hopefully they'll be able to do so. So far, the record's not that good for them, because if we look at their trend is like 1 kill, 2 kills, 3 at most maybe. 4 at most in certain rounds, but the majority of it is like 1 and 2. So I hope that they'll be able to step it up and bring a surprise to all the teams. Let's go, page 2.
I do want to see the same thing here, but we have to wait if they want to go for the rotation that we're hoping for them to actually go for. 4P's just got himself a last chicken in, and that's definitely will actually push the adrenaline rush to the max. So we're talking about setting the tone for today. You mentioned it earlier today about setting the tone up. It feels like our top contender of first, second place not setting any sort of a tone just yet. Yes, Gascan, they actually secure those chicken, but it feels like hot and cold for them today. 1 minute you're at the top, and the next minute you're down there at the bottom. Just so hard for them to actually maintain that consistency with so many targets behind their back. We're talking about the teams that are trying to take them down and just proving, you know what, we're not going to make things easy for you. You might actually get yourself that number 1 spot, but the gap in between the margins will not be as large as we thought it would be.
Yeah, it's not as big. Considering that Archangel Predator, yes, they had a good run, but they're dropping a little bit today for their first 2 rounds. So that's why we can see some teams starting to catch up, especially for Gascan. But Exo Clan as well, don't look down upon them. So keep your eye on these 3 teams at the top. But will be also nice to see like page number 2 teams well, we have 3 more chicken dinner slots. Hopefully, well, we can't, not every team can go back with a chicken dinner at this point. So hopefully we get to see like Aurora, Chicha. At least they still get something for themselves.
Team that haven't got themselves that banner chicken dinner yet, but Rams being spotted out from afar. The long shots coming in. Really painful at his receiving end right now. Have used that health kit quite swiftly. Lucky enough, he secured himself quite a number of it. But for TNX now, TNX is one team that I love to see when it comes to early games. They are the teams that love to, you know, just nitpicking everyone and force the fight. But today they have been a bit quiet early on. I mean, like, they have been playing very safe, very conservative, not their usual self.
Yeah, it's a little bit different for them, considering that if we talk about like page 2 teams, they are one of the top teams that managed to get a good number of kills. So it's a little bit of a change of tone for them today. Probably a different strategy. Not too sure what they're thinking of. But I guess it's also affected by the flight path. Like what you mentioned, the flight path is kind of nice for these teams, so they can get into their spots nicely without clashing to other teams too early on. So that's why everyone's like, okay, we're still 64 alive, so we might as well play a little bit of a chill pill. Unless we see that the feed goes wild, then maybe they'll be like, okay, it's time to take fights, because possibility of us getting higher placement points are a little bit better from there. And so far, I guess the number 64 is just it's just making all these teams just play a little bit more passive and chill.
I think due to the last Erangel, they want to make the best out of it. That's one of the reasons. And at the same time, it feels like everybody, it's within their reach for the flight path. So everybody can drop their initial drop spot they've been planning beforehand. It feels like everybody respecting those territories, not so much anymore as PE. CJ always make the opening for the team here, making us super excited about what they have to offer to us. And it's a treat to actually finally see a first blood taking on the Panic Dusky down. For CJ, he wants to go for more, but there's nothing else left to see. There's a lot of teams. Never mind, Aura. You mentioned about them. Things not going great again for them as a start for our last Erangel here.
Okay, clearly saw that from the future. He was anticipating that move and taking one player from Aurora. That was a little bit unfortunate for them. Hopefully with playing as a trio, well, we've seen it before. Playing as a trio, you still can get something out of this round. Maybe even a chicken dinner. So not the moment for them to give up just yet. 4P on the other end did very well in the previous round. So they'll be okay into the circle. I'm still looking at Aurora and Chicha. Come on, guys. But Suspect sees one, takes one down, and that's going to be another point in the bag for Panic Esports.
Bit of trading to do. They're taking back what Rams have to offer. A 1-to-1 trade between themselves here. But Panic secures back that one trading they lost early on. But TNX speedy. You know what? I saw that 4 piggies in one car, one vehicle, right? Remind me of piggies and blanket for no reason.
I know what you're thinking. We've seen that before. That's always scary, but oh, it's scary for M0 as well. 1v3, let's go!
M0 is known for his solo clutch. He might just do this again. It's gonna be one call trying to fish him out and flush him down. But Zero knows exactly where to see, but at the same time, he's not having it enough. He got himself those bombs, those hand grenade, but Speedy will actually give him the support from the back line. Oswald coming out from the flank. They wrap things around here, different corners entirely. Shios coming in from the left side as well. Nandu now have to be more than aware. They are walking straight into a trap set up at the side of TNX, but PE taking this matter into their hands as advantage. Just taking it away, those kills points from backline. Asba trying to give support fire from a long distance. But in the meantime, it's going to be a 3-way war. It's not just one team fighting against another. CJ splitting from the rest of them quite far apart, taking this like a no problem.
Yeah, they got some help from CJ there, so a little bit of a luck for them. And they should be able to recover themselves. Unfortunately, they will lose one. There's another one on the other building, but M0 should be able to get across. Oh, Asma's there anyway. Oh, they still maintain a full squad, so they're A-OK for now. So thanks to CJ, although CJ will be happy to take those points, no doubt. But it's of course thanks to CJ, TNX still survives.
CJ, I'm not sure what his plans are, but he's definitely want to go for the kills. But at the same time, his teammates are not there just yet, and Panic is closing in the distance between them. Suspect is there. There's no clue.
Whoa,
Straight into
wow.
it. There was a beautiful,
Wow.
crispy spray coming from CJ. He didn't even whiff it.
That was as clean as not my room. That was amazing. My
Not
goodness.
your room.
Yeah, I had to highlight, not my room.
It was a
That's so
remarkable
clean.
spray.
My
It's just
goodness.
a remarkable spray. He's formidable player, CJ. He got himself that whole package. This individual can just go against the entire team by himself. He clutched so much yesterday. He's doing it again today with a good start right now. But TNX just happened to be having a bit of a tap to its island. We do have 4Ps coming in very late. Like we mentioned before, they're coming out from Novo, just unfolding things as they go. But Gas Can, on the other hand, they're taking a longer rotation, just crossing to its side of school, coming up from the northern side. But AAP is having the same mindset as they do. Now, this is going to be super interesting as Axo is in between them. They might actually having a three-way war up there on the northern side. All three teams up there are the top contenders for #1 spot right now.
Yeah, we can see a big rotation there by Gascan. They're trying to avoid all these early fights. Speaking of early fights, unfortunately, one will go down. Not one, but look at the elimination feed. It's going crazy. Chicha Gaming, the last team in the overall charts being eliminated. Looks like I'll be looking at Aurora then.
Half of so many teams around this corner. Axo will be challenged by APA. JO just crosses to his side of the cross of Goose. And this is Goose we're talking about. He will take whatever that moves and just try to shoot it down. He knows exactly where JO is. Now it's Goose. He's gonna go for it. He's just gonna commit himself to it. But at the same time, he has to be more than aware for the fact that it's not gonna be just this team. He cannot tunnel his vision down to the side of just JO. Because there's so many teams around them there somewhere, including Gascan, who just arrived on top of the crosshair of Vaxo clan. Now Nikos will try to challenge out of this compound, but Nikos driving straight into the doors of Vaxo clan. Have to make a bit of a U-turn. AAP on the other side as well. They had the gunfire shot just now. That's the cue for them to actually move their attention straight towards whatever those shots coming out from.
Ooh, Kang, the Conqueror. Not conquering on the Gas Clan just yet. But if they have a good amount of nades, they can toss it into the ditch. But so far, not going to make those big moves just yet. Probably not that necessary for now, considering that they are in the inner part of the circle, depending on how the next bit of circle goes. But the first nade will be tossed on, not into the ditches yet. So Gascan, they still survive, but their position has been compromised though. Nikos is leaving this ditch. His teammate has a vehicle of his own, so they'll be rendezvousing back.
Where to go? It is so surrounded right now. The 4Ps just gonna play themselves alongside this terrain. The slope and the side of the hill is just gonna make such a huge work for them. PE put out 4S, but there's 4P in between. It's gonna be PE KO trying to go for the flank side. Man on the other hand, put out Paradox. They have no clue he's lurking around this corner somewhere. Man, hoping that it will clip. This gives away his position so much. Just gonna back away for now. He knows for a fact it will not land on anybody on that grenade. But after F, just widely spread apart amongst themselves. A bit of a very risky play, but it's gonna be worth it. It's all about their timing to close into this fight. They're back into the woods, but the circle just shrinks even furthermore. It's gonna be right on top of this Medusa intersection.
Oh, and look at this, Choo-Choo. It's going to be a long rotation here for Archangel Predator. They're still up north. And there's Trident waiting for them. It could be Exo Clan as well, depending on which route do they take. So it's not going to be an easy move for them. But on the other hand, Gascan as well on the outside of the circle, while being overlooked at by APH on the high ground.
Got the compound, but the compound will not work this time. It's not going to be the same sort of strategy in the last match just now in the last map. CF Axo now closing in the distance between Gascan and the rest of the other teams. They have to make a move for Gascan, but Big Boy Mecha, the IGL for the side of CF, Charm Farmers, being charmed by the existence and also the presence of AXO. Clan Kang now pushing forward with the rest of the team, going in as a front liner. Skukita will actually give the support from the back line as well. Now Goose coming in, who's still struggling with that vehicle, trying to park himself. They're widely spread apart, coming up from AXO into 2-2 formation. But Ryu spot out Kang. They have to be more than aware. Should be really going back. Pull back all the way for retreat there. Kang in a very, very predicament situation. Ryu on the other hand, keep the pressure on. The rest of the AXO clan is here right now, alongside with Skukita and Kang. But Big Boy Mecha got himself a bit of space to reset himself and have it another go. Now the problem is they don't want to fight this anymore because they know for a fact they're way so much far from the circle still, so have to make their way into it. Same goes for Gascan side.
Ooh, Gascan, great shot. Where's he gonna go? P is waiting for him. Everywhere's occupied. He turns left, he turns right, and no, looks like a punctured tire. Great shot, gotta get away soon. The good news is that they're currently in the circle. They'll take this high ground for now. They'll be happy with it, but another team is closing in. So they need to be prepared. They need to take the right position quickly.
Tire and smoke up bug. He needs to leave. He needs to find for another because he might clash with CF for the next one. Who's having a go against APH, but where to turn? Oh my god, Greg! You need to find yourself a space! But there's no space for these guys! They kind of clumped up in between it with AXO climbing up those hills, closing in, and Kang and Skukita might spot Greg out. Oh, he got himself into UAZ or something in between. I'm not sure if they do have vehicle park around there somewhere, but Gas Can, they're kind of stuck within all these teams out there. CF, spot out Kang again maybe. But APH just finished off. Big Boy Mecha from the back line. The Blues are closing in as well. 4-piece parked himself quite safely across that road, but not safe enough for that much longer. Skukita been knocked down by the side of Gas from that distance. Kang, the last remaining survivor on the side of AXO. There's so much problem for the side of AXO as well. They're surrounded everywhere, left, right, and center. You can see bullets shooting through.
Yes, just look at this. Bullets everywhere, like what you mentioned. Where are they going to go? Okay, great shot. They're going to take a little bit of a risk just going in straight, passing by a couple of teams. Hopefully they'll be able to survive this. Great shot. Praying that they'll be able to evade all the bullets, and finally they have arrived. And the smoke will be popped out, and that is it. That's going to be the place where they're going to reset the sun. Nico's been shot out, but it should be okay for him to be picked up by his teammates.
Shaq just to recuperate himself just a tiny bit of a time with the smoke cover them. The moment the smoke dissipates, it's going to be a hell break loose for them. They have to get out here immediately before the smoke dissipates. But we do have PE waiting around the corner. SL closing in. They spotted out Gascan just now. We do have AAP playing alongside of a hill with Aura on top of those elevations, but they are still not in the circle. Same goes for FTF. SL and AAP feels like the bunker is being shared right now. AXO making a move to a side of a 4-piece right now, making themselves visible for all the teams out there, right in the plain sight.
Oh
across this Medusa intersection, where 4-piece been waiting on in the pits, and Fearways, the 4-pig is being eliminated next. Same goes for AXO clan. 2 teams back to back into the lobby, leaving on the 12 teams left here, 40 alive.
APH coming in, Action PH, oh! But AXO Clan managed to defend that area. AXO Clan now has 8 elimination points, 1 in defense. Coming in for AXO Clan, switching from an offense to a defense. That was beautiful. Nicely done by them.
Taking 4 piggies compound to work around this area. Within this vicinity, if they hold their grounds, they're going to be apt. It's going to be a perfect place for them to farm those kills. But at the same time, there's not much cover to play alongside with them. Aura and Ahachi just finish off each other. This bunker is going to be one of the places there might be their own trap they're walking themselves into. Milko, on the other hand, just going to slowly push forward in the tunnel of this bunkers. Try to make at the other end and make an exit out. But at the same time, the more they stays here, the more problem they actually have to face. Look at how many teams surrounding them right now. Gascan on the other end, or just across the road. We have SL still behind us somewhere. And there's also Pride in the pair out of nowhere now arrived. FTF taking a fight against AAP. The moment they just step out from the bunkers, they just gonna pin them down.
Close.
This is just freely giving away to the side of FTF right now.
Oh, they're going in. It's going to be our Agent Predator going in on the defense. KDR from a long way shot. KDR shot it from side. He doesn't know what hit him. And now, looks like Moy will need to come in. And you need to clean them out quickly. Nat is still alive. Moy will take them out. Archangel Predator number 11.
Reset and have another go, and they don't have that much time. The Blues will close in less than 30 seconds. While the side of 4 Samurai spraying over the side of a Charm Farmers, leaving only Invis alone. TNX coming up from a Rue side. M0 and also Asbar. Rue is on top of that hill. 4 Samurai closing in, compressing that side. But we have a response coming out from Rue. Charm Farmers will try to retaliate. Murayama next. Rue, everything, he has to work this by himself for now. Ziv is quite split out from afar, a bit far from him. Not that too far, but he's inside of his shack right now. 30 of 4 Samurai spotted out Rue. Toss out the nade, but will not clip for now. Bit off angle. Tossing another one, trying to hope and pray it will clip onto somebody at this moment, but they couldn't get it done. They want to push forward, want to commit to it, but it's too much of a risk.
Oh, here we go.
And Charm Farmer through. Response again, but still got clipped down. It's going to be a trade to be done here. As Charm Farmers being eliminated next, we're down to 9.
Oh, at this point, Exo Clan, they are still in this. And Gascan as well. So our top few teams are still in. Our Angel Predator, they'll be in trouble when it comes to the overall charts. Now Trident is moving in. And Aura is waiting for them on the other side. But are they able to get through? Doesn't this vehicle block their routes? I think so. I don't think they can get through though.
They can climb
Oh, they
up.
can?
They can just
Here we go.
down it. But the problem is, the moment they step out from this bunkers, both teams will not survive. Look at how crowded it is the moment you make an hazard out. No, make a big U-turn. That nade will actually just reflecting back to his face. Mercury just guarding over with a UAZ, making sure they cannot make it out. We're just gonna sit this quietly inside in this UAZ right now. They want to drive by, but the problem is, can they make it out alive? Snow still contemplating whether to go in for or not. They have to make an exit. They're just barely at the edge of this circle as well. Same goes for Milko. They're in the same bit for both teams.
Well, Milko still has the throwables to use, so a little bit of an advantage to him. Now checking out the circle, looks like it's going to still be onto Gascan. Still in the middle of the circle. They are blessed by Lady Luck in this round as well, but now can't say the same for 4S as well as TNX, just next to each other. They need to fight. And 4X will need to fight their way through as well. Not going to be an easy entry for them, considering that their opponent is still a full squad.
The other hand has been hiding themselves so well. Nobody actually spotting out just yet. I'm not sure about Namsel though. PE and CJ. Namsel and CJ quite split it into two sides. Differently, working different angles entirely. With Trident in between here. CJ being spotted out. 4 Samurais. Having full vision towards the side of TNX right now. They have to cut across TNX to make it through. But how? With trees in between them. Just covers with themselves. Oh, that's the vehicle. It's going to be one shot to knock down that. There's going to be a headshot as well. Breaking those helmets down. TNX asked by M0 working as a duo to push and committed to the side of 4 Samurai. This duo will work so much and punish on the side of 4 Samurais heavily. Just some will be knocked down, leaving only Funny is there to actually help him up with the other teammate just gonna flee. And Starlight be eliminated next out of nowhere. Murayama just driving back here, trying to give extra hand, but straight on the ground. She-Horse coming out with a different angle, coming out from the flank side. They're giving such pressure as the Samurais. just being choked at this point.
Oh, and look at this, Choo. Exo Clan already got 10 elimination points. Doing well so far, and they still have to circle. Right now, Tenex needs to fight. And they're not done yet still. But Tenex, they have the circle advantage against 4S. 4S now forced to move, and 4S will be eliminated at number 6. It's going to be 5 elimination points for Mr. CJ himself.
Yav has been quite far ahead and picking the fight to the side of Speedy, who's holding this angle against FTF by himself alone. The entire squad against Speedy only. But for the side of CJ, it's a bit too much of a distance for him to recover his teammate. But for Man, there's no way he can actually make it out alive. As Gascan taking this advantage with those picks so short, taking it easily. Nico's not breaking any sweat. They're taking this shack to their full potential. Very small space, but big impact coming up from Gascan.
Yeah, definitely big because they're in a good position. Just look at the road that's separating a couple of teams on the other side. They'll need to get through Gascan. So Gascan can play the gatekeeping role despite them only playing with a couple of members, but now putting focus on the PE. PE will get another one. Exo Clan will be eliminated, but they managed to secure 10 elimination points. Fairly decent in this round.
They got the circle for Gascan. It feels like they are back and bouncing back up and forth. Last map, they got eliminated early. This one, they want to finish off the last Rengar with a bang. But can they hold themselves in that small shack the longest? As long as they can and possibly will be. But back to the side of PE, they're playing around the slopes of a hill, but they are quite far. They have to cross an open street. And I'm not sure how much smokes they have left. They do have the vehicles that definitely got some smokes in that box certain somewhere. But for TNX side, they're taking the reign over this sort of elevation. They take the playing fields. They're taking this elevation to work. They can see through those small windows of that shack. For Gascan still holding this compound. But PE, the moment they pop themselves up here, is just giving away freely for TNX to actually have their crosshair down tunneling to the side of PE right now.
Looks like they're going to take this risk with the smoked up vehicle. CJ is going to move. Where's CJ going to go? He's going to try and go from the northern side into the circle. That's their best bet rather than going straight up in. So they can still play by the left side, but they need to create a bunker maybe. Gascan still around the corner. Gascan knows exactly where they are, preparing those throwables. They're going to toss it out to CJ. CJ might be in trouble here. CJ evades the first one, but down to 50% have the second. The third one, the fourth one will be thrown onto them. CJ now super low, and looks like his teammate Nanzel will be knocked down. CJ will need to back up. He's almost taken out as well, but he managed to reset himself.
The other side, they have to switch over their attention to the other side entirely. But Nikos will keep the taps over to the side of PE right now. But he's got himself slither of hell, got himself a bit of a reset. But grabbing shot down, M0, a bit of trading with TNX. Gascan being surrounded left, right, center. They will wrap around, and it's going to be a bit of a problem. Jashak will not hold them much longer as Nikos slither of hell finish off by the side of TNX. That saved PE the hell out of them in the last minute. But at the same time, there's no time. PE needs to get out. There's no vehicle for them. It's an open field. Osborne got himself elevation. He can see through where Noms and CJ is. They cannot leave the smokes.
Yeah, and to next they have a good position. They have secured the entire perimeter. They have someone on the high ground. They have someone in the middle. Pretty much PE doesn't have anywhere to move. The circle will force them to move anyway in 41 more seconds, and TNX, they know they have this in the bag.
What a running amok right now. And Osbar clicking up the nade feels like a perfect angle. It might actually drop another time on Xiao. There you go, the knocks. Here comes the rush. They want to go everywhere, every angle possible. Osbar pushing into a side of CJ. In a certain and confident enough, TNX definitely closed and wrapped things up very clean, very swift, and a very fashion manner as well with that chicken dinner. TNX, the team that love early skirmishes, now finish off with a clean execution as well.
Ooh, the next another team from the bottom half getting a chicken dinner. Today is like the day of second page teams. That's great. Looking good so far for them. And this is the first chicken dinner in the PUBG Challenger Rumble Season 1. So congratulations for them getting this poster on the board. But now we'll need to wait and see again. We need to tabulate the scores again. Archangel Predator, first of the top 3 to be eliminated. So pretty much down to Gascan and ExoClan in this round. But looking at the gap, Gascan might still be on top. But ExoClan definitely, they have shrunk the margin, the gap between them and number 1.
Should be taken over by ExoClan? That's a bigger question. Because yeah, they actually kind of survived longer, yes, but at the same time, I do want to know how much ExoClan managed to finish up with those kills. So, because they have been run and gun since the start, right? For ExoClan, they're just gonna go for the kills. They just aim for one thing. It's gonna be those elimination points, those kill points that's gonna work for them. They don't care for anything else. But on the side of Gascan, aside that everything was kind of against their odds just now, they still make way into those very small shacks. It works wonderfully well for them. We're talking about Gascan kind of stuck in between. There's so many teams in between them, but they managed to make themselves invisible at certain spots. They managed to actually stay quiet for a bit, that every other team didn't put enough attention to their side, and that just giving them so much of that survival time, definitely give them so much ranking point as well. But for the side of TNX, feels like it's going to be tough for them. They were like 4 PKs before, coming up from the second page, now slowly pushing up towards the middle bracket. But when it comes to AAP, we have to consider about AAP at this point as well. They're being eliminated quite early on. We're talking about them on the northern side. Both 3 teams are actually getting themselves in the top 3 were in a war early on the northern side.
Yep. So very, very interesting though. This round, you kind of think about it. Like the northern side was really, really packed with teams. Trying to get into it wasn't easy. So I think the focal point was that. Maybe because of the flight path as well. The flight path was nice, so teams can kind of spread out across the map. And the last we saw the drops was that there was only 1 team inside military base. So that means that there are more teams on the main peninsula or maybe even on the northern side. Hence, when teams start to move, they will meet up against those key areas. So that was pretty interesting start though. But it's also another action-packed round. I think all 3 rounds that we've seen today, a lot of action. Even our highlights can tell the story.
True. Ended up right on top of that Medusa intersection. So many heals in between there, and so many vegetations in between, and not much of a compound play alongside for these guys. It's really a tough one, but they make it work for them. And coming up from PE, they have to be thankful so much for TNX to save the heck out of them. If it's not because of TNX pushing in, I think PE is done and dusted for, because Gasca were planning to actually push over there. But the moment you're trying to decide to push into a side of PE, the moment Nams are being knocked down, that's the time where TNX actually just happen to be there at the same time. But from that, taken up from the chart as well, TNX got 14 elimination. But look at EXO, that 10 point of elimination, just 1 point difference. Even though Gascan got themselves sort of an okay spot in the top 3, but it's not enough for them to actually push up there. Now, where do the EXO clan will actually stand in the overall rankings by end of this map?
Ooh, okay. I would think that it is still number 3 based on my rough calculation, but the gap is still not too far. What's of course worrying is that for Archangel Predator, they didn't get anything. But okay, so number 2, okay, so that's because Archangel Predator didn't get anything. Right, so now it's a 10-point gap between them and Gascan. Oh my goodness, 2 more rounds, and it only takes 1 round for ExoClan to take over Gascan.
It's just 10-point difference. It feels like they're literally standing in the AAP spot previously, before we start our last day here today. That 10 points gap is still there, and Gascan just so closely being chased behind. Like Axo is just so closely behind them. But for the side of AAP, that's still not too big of a gap, despite that they actually still didn't gain. I think they just managed to secure 1 point just now, because they're starting off at 173 or 171 early on. But it's still a reachable gap for them to finish off with those Miramar. We're talking about Miramar next, but Erangel, it's done and dusted. I mean, like, that's it for these guys. There's no more chances in Erangel, and this is their last chance to prove themselves for AAP that they are worthy to be in the Global Series in the last minute.
Yeah, 2 more rounds to go. I mean, we're starting to see that gap right between them and number one. But hey, if ExoClan can do that, right, like climb up from where they were before this and now they're number 2, I mean, nothing's impossible. So anything can still happen. And plus, we have seen our Angel Predator getting a 16 elimination with a chicken dinner, even 15. We got a couple of 15s as well from them. So they are capable of doing that. But it looks like the other teams are stepping up, and it's unfortunate that for Archangel Predator, for at least 2 rounds in the 3 rounds that we have seen, the moment they drop, there's another team in the same compound. So that's not the start that they would have wanted. They got knocked down first, and the rest was just history. But yeah, I mean, if they want a chance to go up, hopefully they'll be able to drop somewhere that they can get a good start at least.
We don't have any downtime. Who needs a break? Because everything is on fire right now. As we're gonna walk straight into our 4th map of the day. It's gonna be Miramar. And speaking of that, Cloud, I mean, like, if ExoClan did secure that number 1 spot in the last 2 maps here, it just gonna devastate the fans so much. Because we're talking about Gascan, the teams coming up from NA, now playing in Oceania, playing in Southeast Asia for the Challengers Rumble. Used to be a PGC team. Now be taken down by the side of Exo. Now that's a big statement. And not just one of the best in South Asia for AAP as well. ExoClan coming in very strong, pushing their last push. It's just so impactful.
Yeah, if that happens, then Kang can definitely change his name to Kang the Conqueror for sure. Finally, it justifies him. Okay, just looking at the early drop, so looks like let's see, ExoClan is going to be okay. Archangel Predator dropping onto probably the high grounds or even inside Chumasera itself, not contested, so that's fine. Gas can around the ears of Power Grid, so not contested. But so at least our top 3 teams, they're doing okay as a start. So, but I'm kind of worried for the left side. So we got a couple of overlaps there. La Drilera, we got like at least 2 teams. So that will be kind of interesting to see what's going to happen there.
How AAP been spreading himself quite wide on top of Chumasera as well. But so far, nothing too much of a hot spot or hot drop between these teams. Not too much of a clash. But for the side of Panic and CG, feels like they are parting ways as well, as Panic will actually drive downwards towards Valdemar. Still waiting now, the circle pops. It happens to be right on top of Hacienda. Now it feels like slightly similar to yesterday's circle. We did actually do have this sort of circle in the last map of Miramar yesterday. But for the other team so far, it's still kind enough for these guys to get into in any sort of angle possible. We're talking about a very generous circle in the center, so they can come in from the northern side, west, east, south. Everywhere is within their reach, within a possibility to get an entry.
And this kind of circle is kind to Gascan again. I mean, they have been getting kind circles for themselves. And with the style of this circle, because they drop inside a power grid, they can go up to the high grounds of power grid, make that their checkpoint. Teams would normally make those rotations on those roads just below them, so they get information, they can take early shots. So it's currently the best case scenario among the top 3 teams for Gascan and where they drop that. And that's sometimes the advantage of you dropping in the middle of the map.
To the circle still. We saw how many games today, like you mentioned about Gascan. When it comes to last circle, they always know how to read it out. It just shows how much dedication, how disciplined these players are when it comes to scrims and their practices to read out those patterns of the circle, which is so hard to predict these days because how chaotic it can get for the circles to be read out. Sometimes you predicted it's going to be on the main island or in the bigger place or bigger space that we always mention. But it's always ended up on this unusual spots that nobody wants to be in. But so far for the side of EXO, I'm loving this team so much. I'm a big fan of them right now. I love how they force a fight, how they work as a unit to organize a sort of a push, to recuperate and how to defend themselves. They just work so well in unison. But for the other teams, on the other hand, we still have a bit of a glimpse from Trident here and there. On the side of Panic, it has been a bit quiet from them. We haven't seen a lot of sort of explosive game that, like how they did yesterday. It's relatively calm for them today. I'm not sure what their plans are, but it feels like they're reserving them a bit more than yesterday. Maybe a bit cautious, treading on thin ice, being a bit more careful today for the last day. But it feels like it's not themselves here.
Yeah, there's something lacking definitely. So, but we did talk about like some of the factors, like maybe I just put in some of the factors, right? So the bottom teams or the page 2 teams, they're stepping it up. We did see that Tinex, 4P get a chicken dinner, and even teams like Trident getting a second place. But okay. So looks like action's not stopping in this round. Namsiao gets the first one to Rems. Is his teammates gonna come? His teammates on the high ground. If they want to come, they gotta do it fast. But with PE moving in onto Rems, Rems is out.
Drove himself straight in a straight line into the compound. Just now was definitely the death for the side of Rams. I mean, like Jo. Interesting. Well, from same team there. But Gascan taking on 4Ps. He got his bit split at a bit of a distance between him and his teammate. Vanton spotted out some players of Gascan across him. Got himself this minivan. A bit slower than usual, but it will work for the barriers. The 4Ps, they're spreading it so wide right now.
Ooh, yeah, 4P with that, they will lose Gops. But here's the thing, right? So we did talk about Gascan's position because of their initial drop inside a power grid. Definitely they'll take the high grounds around it. And that is a good move for Gascan. They managed to secure one elimination point. Their opponents weren't ready for it. They passed by, they wanted to scout, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to go up against that level of a high ground because your opponent definitely will see you first, even though if you're there to do the scouting work. And sometimes it's just a scouter just overextending their position, and they got punished for it. But for Gascan, with that point collected, our Angel Predator, Exo Clan will be looking at it and saying that we gotta step up our game too.
At least for consolation, at least they gathered some intel. Somebody there, not to go out there again. Sort of FTF. They are great in Gascan, just how like Gascan greeted the other teams just now. Coming up from the backline, a bit of trading to do, one knockdown. Man on the other end trying to finish off. Cow. Moo Cow. Finish off straight away. It's going to be 1-1 trade for each team. Got themselves 1 point each, but Gascan do have extra because they've been fighting a different team entirely straight off the bat. But Greg shot around this corner, around this terrain. It's so hard to land those shots unless you got yourself on a higher grounds. This is already in the middle ground. You need to climb up more. But at the same time, it's too risky to do so. You have no sort of information. Where are the rest of FTF right now? To climb up, you have to clear the corners. But there's so much corner around this area.
Yeah, probably right now it's not going to be worth it for them since they already got that information that someone's up there. So to challenge it, it's still the first player of Soko. So that means that you still have a lot of space to play with. You can consider to go to a lot of other parts in the same area. Even on the high ground on just the slightly southern side of where they are playing right now, it should be a decent place as well. So I don't think they really need to force the fight for now. So as long as they can get one of those key positions, that's going to be okay for them.
For Trident, just happily being a good Samaritan, just gonna drive on top of the street, right? Because they're just gonna follow as civil as they can get. But never mind, they make a big U-turn and make a bit of a right turn there. Go straight for the uphills of the compound. Salty, don't want to flip your car right now. It's the bad timing because it might be another team trying to transition themselves into a different compound at the same time. We do have visitors across them as well. AP. Now, AP have not made sort of any sound today. We talk about how quiet they are the entire day. The last 3 maps, they are the one who's desperate enough to have to make a push now. They're being pushed down to 3rd place. And they really need to get more elimination, more kills to get those numbers up.
Yeah, the desperation definitely has heightened up considering their current position. where they were strong at number 1, but now number 3. I mean, it's devastating for them considering the number 1 spot is so precious. It gives them an instant slot to the Global Series, but they need to work hard now. Their opponents are working really, really well. Looking at PNC, are they able to get in this shot? Okay, it's on the bike though. Yes, he has speed, but very minimal cover. Long range. Will not land for now. Dusky scopes out. Sees one. Taps away. But it's not going to be easy. The speed of the bike is just too much for him to handle.
Just gonna see if there's anything else that he can actually just gain from the house again. Let's see if there's anything he need to reset as well. Alec on AAP definitely knows and had the audio cue about the other team right across him just now, but he's gonna go back and taking a bit of safer route instead of trying to provoke the other team to fight him. Suspect in middle of nowhere. 4 piggies heard the shots. CG is being nasty, but there's a being sneaky, super sneaky, guys. Shoot and run. Just making a 4-piece a bit confused. Where are the shots coming up from? Splitting into 2 formation. They want to go for the push, but thinking about how hard it is to penetrate the fortress of those warehouses. So very few entry point. So hard to take down those guys. Outside of 4-piece, they're not wasting any more time. They want to flee from here. But where to go next? Because there's so many teams around them still.
Well, look at the zone move towards the right. So 4P has that exit point and they're starting to move right now because they know if they move later, those teams on the left will start to converge onto them and they will have minimal space for them to move. So they'll be like, okay, circle moves, let's just move along with it as quickly as possible. Great call indeed. But that leaves that these 2 teams locked in with each other, possibly able to exit still because we're still at the second phase of circle. There's still a lot of space to play with, but they need to make their decision fast.
On the side of the north end junkyard area, we're talking about the right and the top side is just so vacant, and anybody can actually try to take that without any sort of a problem at all. We're talking about Axoma actually potentially going to the northern side, but back to the side of Gas Can is still barely making it in right on top of Graveyard, keeping the tabs out for CG and even Panic Esports. AAP for as an SL is coming out from Lambedita down on the southern side. But Gas Can, they want to farm those kills. They will not just get into the circle without gaining anything from it. They just want to run and gun. At the same time, have to be extra careful, like you mentioned before. If they're later, there'll be so many teams converging into the same spot and they have to go through that sort of scuffle, which they can negate if they move earlier.
Ooh, look at the long range there. So now our interpreter, they should be able to hear that someone's on the right. So that's why they're moving towards the left. Again, because it's second phase of the circle, there's still enough space to play with. A couple of compounds, but not sure if this area is within the circle though. But 9 coming in onto 4S and Murayama gets away. 9 gets out of his vehicle. Probably going to take a couple of shots, but it's not going to be anything big. It's more like warning shots for now, unless Hachi decides to do something else.
Hachi definitely decide to do something big and forces Murayama kind of stuck. He got a bit of a drift. That vehicle smoked up quite hard here. But we do have another thing coming out on the other end as well. Now, Hachi making sure he pulled over. Even the UAZ going backwards here, they still want to go for Murayama. Just gonna go for the kills. They're so committed for the fights. They're so committed in getting themselves those points. And leaving Murayama just being open, left out there, and the rest of the team have to flee and have to get out. But CEG will chase the Hacker of Panic as well as PV will finish off by Luke Gascan on the other end. But they are in the blue zone. This is dangerously very risky for Gascan to actually play this sort of a game because 1, they are closely being chased over by Axo when it comes to overall ranking. Secondly, there are so many teams trying to migrate themselves into the center of the circle at the same time. If they got caught on this crossfire, this might be this might be them being pushed down for second place here.
Well, the good news is that they managed to get like 4 elimination points so far, the highest of them all. So it's more of them like, okay, are they able to survive the blue? You can see them kind of spread out, probably doing some scouting work just to find the right route in it, but they gotta be aware that CG is behind them. PNC on the other hand looking to go through La Vendetta, so that's going to be okay. But what's not going to be okay is the circle for all these teams as it shifts a little bit on the northern side, but we still have a good handful of teams within it.
Coming up from Starlight, they know for a fact it's going to be very quiet on the right side. They're going from the entry. AAP taking it on the southeast side. But Aura and also CF, there's so many coming up from the southern part. We are having such a saturated pool down there. Axo still coming up from the northern side. Taking TNX, the team that just got themselves a last chicken in the last wrangle. Now being challenged by Skukita. Am0 making a front line and just straight on the ground as well. Double naded. That's such pressure and such commitment showing off by the side of Axo. They want this fight. They will go in strong and forcefully taking it over from the hands of TNX for the compound.
Oh yeah, Exo Clan wants those points in the bag, and they're going to start it off with M0 being taken out by Skrikita. Now they want this compound. Speedy gets away. Asma still behind. Exo Clan moving in. TNX is spread out right now. TNX may want to retreat, and TNX is doing exactly just yet.
Open up wide and just going to flee from here. They definitely know he didn't even have any sort of vehicle to work around. And this is Mirama we talk about. He knows for a fact there's one here. But at the same time, we do have AAP starting their right foot forward. We're going to be fighting Gazara right now. Juice, he tried to hop onto that vehicle, but straight away cancel whatever intention he had before. Due to the fact the taps coming up from AAP is just so painfully taking it in. But for PE, Namsel, the last remaining member coming up from PE, have to stay quietly inside. Not really. PE has full score, but I'm not sure where are the others. He's so separated with the rest of the team for Namsdale. It's a bit of a risky move coming up from them. But one call, it will be one of those teams who have to join in this crossfire as well.
Ooh, Gascan. I mean, look at the amount of teams surrounding them. Man, hopefully they have the right information, but at least they have some sort of compound to work with, and they are on the other side of the road as well, so they're managing the circle early on. While 4S, on the other hand, passing by, but focusing now onto Archangel Predator. Have a compound, have a high ground. They should be alright here. Yes, SL's on the other side, but I don't think they'll be a big threat for now.
Bold and brazen, just gonna park themselves in between these teams. Have exchange fire between themselves. At cell 9, definitely spot that one now, giving back that information towards the rest of the roster. And Axo, on the other hand, they gain what they got. They already got what they want. They got the intel as well. Just going to reunite with the rest of the team, going in and reassess the situation about how to approach towards their next fight, waiting for the circle to pop to make their next decision about their rotation. Now, definitely they are one of the closest team from the northern side to actually get into the circle, but the rest of them, we talk about FTF, we talk about CG, is quite too far off from the rest of the teams, but still have to fight it. But FTF just widely so spread out. If they can close it in swiftly, there will be a great one, but there's going to be a nade finish of Dusky from that shack.
Nicely that there's nowhere that Dusky could have run. And that is it, taken out just like that. TDZ on the other hand, sneaking out the super look. He sees him, he's gonna put a shot, he shoots, but TDZ, no! Super low, what a beautiful flick shot, saved his life.
Of a moment thing for him, but for the side of AAP, the moment Circa pops in, they're going to move forward. It's going to be coming up from SL Starlight. It's been waiting. There's not just going to be one team. Aura trying to still there somewhere, but Solution kind of being crowded by this entire cavalry of AAP who just arrived, but Solution still managed to close it through. He got Aljin down on the ground. Alec burning off his back. Oh, he's been barbecued, and that's going to be Alec barbecued over in the hands of Solution there. Evil Patrick trying to make wonderful work, but things just going south. They miscalculated about the rotation there. They didn't think through that there's going to be so many eyes watching out this side of a map. And 9 will actually try to pull back up by Yase, but none kind of stuck in between the rut. Now, how to get out from here?
Oh, Solution still survives. Archangel Predator. They were too confident about the Solution that they got punished instead, and now we're going on to Gascan. Namzia, the only one in his compound. They should be able to take him out, but they need to do it quickly before the team comes in. We do see that CF is passing by.
They're just too far apart from each other right now. CF happens to be there. Now CF will actually save the heck out of Namzia, who's supposed to be alone in there for quite some time. Gascan now trying to flush him out. But the entire team of Gascan really want Namzia so badly enough. They invested all 3 players in there. With Blue Zone slowly closing in, CF will try to make a move. I'm not sure they will pull towards the other side and try to finish up whatever happening to a Gascan and PE, but Namzia still not gonna move even an inch of that muscle. He's playing this as quiet as possible, just biding his time. None of the teams, none of the players of Gascan knows exactly where he's at, but 9 slithered down to last tick of health. Have to reset himself within seconds here as the Blues are so close behind him.
Ladies and gentlemen, Archangel, Predator number 3 in this round. And that's going to be an easy cleanup here by Gascans securing this compound. But this compound is no longer valuable. It's currently on the outside of the circle. Starlight will be eliminated at number 12. And now CF will need to fight against our eyes to get into the circle.
Pushing to a side of Milka from the back line. And now going in. Didn't spot him out just yet. Kang already cooked up the nade. Tried to toss over the side of Asma. It's going to be, I think, the last player of TNX remains. As Speedy bleeding out, he can't do anything while watching his teammate being bombarded by so many utilities. Now keep on the pressure to a side of us, but can't start to push forward and pick out. But at the same time, the small hills, the corners are making it so
just
hard
that corner.
for him to actually let it down. He's trying to revive. It's a perfect shot. And that's just it. Aspa being finished off by Axo Clan. They still run and gun. These guys on a rabbit. Axo going for more.
They want more. They already got 4 in the bag. And that's not going to be enough if they want to secure the number 1 spot. So they're going to get more elimination points. But now putting focus onto ONC versus PE. Looks like CJ's in trouble. 10% health line. He needs to reset quickly. But the opponents are coming in. They're currently on the ground floor. CJ managed to reset himself, but it's 1v2.
CJ, but it's not impossible. Trick that's gonna toss over that flash.
CJ!
He's been knocked down to Nando. CJ still managed to clutch this one out. But it's a bit too much for him to handle as one call managed to wrap things up and got it on their side, sealed the deal. But for FDF, the last player remaining, Axo moving as a 4. Look at that, they're staying themselves in.
Whoa.
1 nade of snow. It's 2 in 1 of the discount. And CF, there's no way out for them.
That's not a snow, that's an avalanche onto them. 1 nade to rule them all, they say. 1 nade takes 2 down. Amazing Kobe instead. And now we can see that Gas Clan just beside ONC. Exo Clan, they're starting to make their move, but where will they go? They're going towards the high ground, where our eyes are at this point. But we want to take a couple of shots just to steal away those elimination points. Let's see what Goose can come up with.
They hold the angle to the side of CF. They can't run. It's Singers for Trident and Snow finish over. Oh, never mind.
Goose!
It's Axo again. This is huge. This is a humongous. Axo keep running for the kills. And they are going by unpunished. They still have 4 men living. We're talking about the full squad standing and trying to fight for more.
Ooh, that was insane coming from Goose. Still managed to steal away 1 elimination point. But the next phase of the circle could be challenging for Gascan, as they'll need to fight against ONC to get into the circle. The circle is just behind ONC, so now Gascan, they're being gate capped. Oh no, they need to take this fight. Nanju, on the other hand, long range on the Goose just to shoo him off, and that will work for now.
That quite a tall order from afar, but it's just valiant effort coming up from his side. But Gascan, on the other hand, they have to cut across 1 core. They cannot go the other way around. It's a bit too late now. They got less than 30 seconds to make a longer rotation. And it's not possible as the Blues start to shrink any second now. And Trident just gonna hold their ground, but they need to leave this vicinity. But the moment they pick out the rest of EXO, who got themselves in the circle, got that elevations, they got the grounds, they don't need to cross. As they're splitting into 2-2 formation, the other two holding on the other side of that street as well. Trident being surrounded everywhere.
Yeah, Trident, the moment they come out, they'll face the wrath of Exocan. But now, Gascan needs to take that fight. They're creating a smoke bridge. Are they going to just evade this fight and go up to the north? Maybe, because time's not on their side, so it's not going to be worthwhile for them to take that fight. Time will not be enough as one call tries to shoot onto them, trying to take them down, but not able to get a knockdown just yet. Goose, if you'll be able to get one knockdown to Gascan, he'll be super duper happy because that's the closest rivals at the chart.
They're gonna just push straight into EXO 2 players, and also Kang waiting on the other end. But if they manage to shut down these two guys, they got the majority of the northern side of the circle to be play around with. They need to shut down on Amps and Kang if Gas want to work things out. But right now it's not an easy task there. They have one call, and Kang even get an extra point, and that trick will finish off. Nando will be next, but finding himself a bit of a barrier to work around. He covers himself behind the truck, but Ant will keep the taps on. He's gonna go for the pixel shot, hoping it will actually connect. And Gascan taking the advantage of it as well.
Oh, EXO Clan, I wonder how many eliminations they got at this point. But the next circle, 45 more seconds before we'll know. Because look at the circle. It's cut by 4 thanks to the road. So we need to wait and see which team is being spiraled upon by Lady Luck by then. It's going to be tough. As Grayshot gets knocked out by KDR, but Luke should be able to pick him up. But before that, it's going to be Luke with 5 elimination points.
Bane for Gascan right now. They are the torn by the side of Gascan. That one person of FTF can make such a playmaker for this map as well. As Gascan is so close of closing at number 1 there. Axo is still having full reign of 4. What Trident tried to force them down for Squeakita and also Goose to leave this vicinity. They will stand up for themselves. Jam pushing forward. The Snow coming out as a support from the back line, pushing with the utility. Same goes for Mila, keeping the pressure and the toes of Axo to keep run. But Squeakita will fight back. They're giving back the response. With that nades almost chip entirely on Jam, but definitely Snow's on the ground, leaving only one player left of this Trident side. And that's just it, Goose. The rest of Axo, they have more. They got already 8 kills by now.
Yeah, 8, and they still maintain the full squad. The only team with 4 players still alive. It's crazy right now as Squeakita takes on the Miller. There's going to be 9 in the bag. They're not done yet though. Gascan, they're in trouble as Nikos tries to get away, goes into the blue, taking a lot of damage. Nikos may want to deny himself, but no! He will be not denied as Squeakita secures an elimination point. They have managed to take down one of the biggest opponents in the overall charts. EXO Clan not stopping yet.
The numbers going, it's 12 right now. We definitely know it's gonna overtake the side of Gascan. And there's gonna upset so much for Gascan fan out there. Axo still have a 4. This shows how clean when it comes to their team play. Their teamwork is just flawless right now. I mean, like, the comps going in this team is so great. They're not leaving any man behind. Having a 4. Fighting against 2 teams that only have 1 remaining players left for trying to own 1 call. It feels like they have this in the back. They're even still inside of a circle. There's no way things could have gone wrong at this point. Every box being checked. And the condition for EXO is down for them to just wrap things up and sit with the chicken. That's it.
Yeah, they just need to know exactly where the opponent's position is at. Okay, so now they know Salty. I believe they know the other one, Nando J. So they know right now. But they need to take out, because they're from different teams, they need to focus on to one before taking out the other. If not, the other one might be the Kingmaker. So EXO Clan, they still playing it at the top of the game. Tapping on to Salty. Salty will feel the salt right now. Down to 40% of health, still alive. But Trident Esports will be the next one to be eliminated. So Salty will be the one that goes out. Nando J survives until a 2nd place finish.
Hard. You see how they want to go for the rush right now. Every angle being covered by EXO players. Whatever you pick, whatever you want to do, Nando. I mean, like, there's gonna be a Say Your Praise, and there's gonna be EXO Clan taking the chicken dinner with a bang. What an explosive match what that was. I mean, like, this definitely them sitting at #1 spot. Even though we don't have our overall rankings for this round, we know for a fact EXO already overtake that 10-point gap is pretty much gone by now, Cloud.
Yeah, for sure, they'll be at #1. But of course, just to put a little bit more excitement for Gascan, with the final round in the horizon, there's still opportunity for them to retake their #1 spot. Not too sure about Archangel Predator though, but will not be shown the overall chart in this round, so we don't really know exactly how's Archangel Predator's stand. But you gotta think about it, Archangel Predator, for all the rounds today, did they not get a single point? I don't remember them getting a single point for any of the rounds today.
They secured some points, but it's not as much. They're starting the day off with 172. And last time we saw them at 173. That's like within 4 maps. Yeah, like last 3 maps, they only gained 1 point the entire day. And this is the most important day for AAP to push forward, to just all cylinders out. But nothing has been shown to us just yet. And this is the last day, the most critical time for them to actually get it together. It's down to EXO versus none other than Gascan, down to the last wire, because the next map will determine who gets the slot into the PUBG Global Series. And it's also the slot to determine who gets into the Asia Super Cup later. That one slot is just so much at stake right now.
Man, it's crazy. I mean, EXO Clan, they came in from behind. And it's also the downfall for Archangel Predator. So it's all these like clumped up into one, all those factors that puts EXO Clan definitely at #1 spot. But of course, the bigger question is, can they hold on to it after the final round? They'll be huge, they'll be insane, because Gascan, I'm pretty sure that they can still catch up to the #1 spot. Man, it still comes down to the final game. We still don't really know exactly who will win, but here are the highlights from the previous round again. Non-stop action. What a day it has been.
So explosive. It's actually a treat to actually be witnessing all this action-packed PUBG in the last day here. We're talking about such privilege. See the best of the players when they are desperate, how much they want this to work for them. Especially coming from EXO Clan. Who would have thought? They were quiet before, they were on the top 5. They were nowhere near in the top 2. But right now they're standing at #1 spot. I'm sorry to spoil it for you guys. We don't have the overall scoreboard after this, but we know for a fact they are at #1. There's nowhere that's going to be different right now. With this 14 elimination, the entire day EXO has been delivering with double-digit eliminations or kills here, Cloud.
Yeah, as much as Gascan, they want to catch up, they only managed to get 12 points in total with 4 rank points and 8 elimination points. So definitely with this 12-point gap in that match itself, for sure, they would have overtaken Gascan. So that's crazy, that's insane. Because the last time we saw them, the gap is 10 points. So they would have overtaken by 12 points. So that's 14 points. Actually, 14 points, I believe. Or 12 points. 2 points. Oh man, my math is just killing me right now because there's just so much happening. But for Archangel Predator, clearly, again, another disappointing round. 1 point for them. And I mean, this is a legendary team in Asia Pacific, and seeing them falter in the last day is just mind-blowing.
They're faltering right now. I'm not sure what really happened, but they have to pick themselves back up the pieces, because it's down to the last map here. If they want to push, this is the last push. It's not going to be the small one. They have to make it as big as possible, because they need to get those double elimination. They need to get more than the usual 14 or 15. They have to get 20s at this point if they want to play catch up. We don't I mean, like, the threat is not so much when you compare it to the gap between the 4th and the 3rd place. It's quite a gap in between. We're talking about, like, what, 40 points, 30-ish, now maybe even 20-ish, due to how AAP didn't actually gain any sort of a point here today, except for that 2 points for the entire day. But now is the time. If they want to push, this is the time. For the side of Axo Clan, as well as Gas Can. I'm not sure if they want to go for safe, or they're taking it a bit slower, or they want to go all for all the push. Because if they just slipped one mistake that is there, the timing is just a bit off, and it's gone.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I guess right now it's a dilemma for EXO Clan, because if we look at Gascan, they're not a team, they're not a pushover team as well. They definitely know how to get those elimination points in the back and collect those rank points. So it's hard. Like what you say, right? If EXO Clan chooses to just still push it, they will have a risk of them going out as well. And if that happens, Gascan will easily take over. But I guess it kind of weigh the both possibilities, considering that Gascan could still overtake them because of their potential. Then EXO Clan, if they're doing well so far today, with the amount of elimination collected almost every round, they might as well just go for it all the way until the last round.
They have to weigh their options here. I'm talking about how risky it is for them to actually put themselves out there and being, being just targeted down by all the other teams if they went too aggressive, or they were to actually go too aggressive. And it's going to be a bit of a risk for them. Maybe they want to weigh out the balancing with the positions as well. Like, you know what? How about we starting off really aggressive when it comes to the 3rd circle, when it comes to the 4th, where everybody start to migrate, the great migration happen when it comes to the 4th circle. Why not we start running gun there? But it doesn't feel like it feels like you should unleash. If they were on leash yesterday for the start of EXO Clan, alright, the day before, even the last week, today has been released of their monsters out there. We're talking about how they've been running and gun, and it works quite well for them. But at the same time, that's too much of a risk here, too much at stake for these guys. We're talking about that number 1 spot who got to get everything in the next step or the next stage of PUBG.
So I guess we kind of conclude from our side that is we expect EXO Clan to just go for it as we jump into our final match for the PUBG Challenger Rumble Season 1 2023. Let's head on to it. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the final round.
Coming up from the north down to south of Puerto Paraiso, just cutting across on top of La Bendita. Now, where will the circle be? Just like it was really, really generous right in the center of it, on top of Hacienda as well. But this time, it's still within reach. For those who want to drop around Minas del Cerro, Los Higos, quite a far-fetched journey for them, but it's still reachable as they got themselves those vehicles to work around. It's always about the circle. How will they actually challenge a player? Is it really the maps making it tough, or the players start to rise up to the occasion? For some teams, they're up there, it's great. But the teams then pull down from the overall ranking board, like AAP, where are they? Were they trying to really force a fight? Because right now we're looking at AAP right on top of that power grid, trying to challenge out Gascan, and this is going to be a hectic one.
Looks like Arja Predator chooses to challenge Gascan because of their number 2, number 3 spot at least. So if they're able to take out Gascan, they might be able to secure their number 2nd spot. So they are taking this risk right now, because for them to drop to number 4, the gap is just too far. So it's a worthwhile risk for them. It's an almost nothing to lose situation for Archangel Predator.
They do have a lot to lose, but they're getting themselves an opener here. Luke knocked down as 4-Pig is taking on CF. It's going to be the IGL for CF, but Gascan, every eye's onto them right now as Alec and Non finish them off. This going down the drain. This is going to be really detrimental for them. If things just didn't work out well, Crackshot slither of health. Didn't have time to even loot things over. But lucky enough, they still have the utilities to work around. Evil Petra come out flank side from the outskirts. It's going to be a bit of a problematic situation if they're not aware about what's coming up from the behind.
Ooh, this is bad. Looking bad by Gascat. They could be able to revenge. But you know who's getting the last life? It's going to be EXO Clan. They're going to be enjoying the elimination feed, just running. And now we can see that one by one they're being taken down. 9 secures their elimination point. 9 will be counterfire upon. Nikos tries to get one. Sees Alec. Alec goes down. Beautiful by Nikos. With a UMP from afar. Nicely done. They're kind of 50-50 at this moment, but it's 2v1 though. Greg Shaw needs to reset.
Thing to reset himself with. That's the problem. They don't have the time to just build up their loot. They've been attacked, they've been ambushed, they've been challenged by AAP. You know what? Let's settle the fight here. And now Nico's being knocked down, and Greg is just too low. He needs to find himself some HP to work around 2 HP. This will not cut it. Greg have to make such a miraculous run this time. Trying to fight out bots, Algin and Evil Patrick at the same time. But Algin don't have too much of your health utilities as well. His magazine's still gonna run out. I'm not sure how many bullets they have, but out on 1. Greg working around the corners of another warehouse at the back line, trying to find on the outskirts in case somebody coming up from off angle. But Patrick knows this better. Bots, on the other hand, will heal himself. Got so much of loot right across
no,
that.
that
Oh, Greg! This is it! Gas can! No way!
Oh man, no way for Gas Can. So now it's a matter of whether Archangel Predator can overtake Gas Can or not. So they'll be happy to take the round, but ONC is in the compound. So now they want to be the one to take over or eliminate Archangel Predator. As Rick sees Alec, hasn't pulled the trigger just yet. He sees 9 on the left. He can pull it anytime soon. I don't think they know he's there.
Archangel Predators. I'm not sure if this karma, if things work out for them, this is going to be a big win for AAP. This is the push that they have been waiting for. That they need it so desperately enough. But it might be the bane here if one call managed to shut them down straight away. We do have man from FTF coming up on the right side of Power Grid as well. Eyeing out, giving so much information for the rest of the team. FTF, they are silent killers. They're setting their traps on the outskirts of Power Grid. Looking how the spread coming up. But AAP, they need to flee. They don't want to jeopardize so much. They need to get themselves a different compound. But the problem is, do they secure any vehicles to flee from here in the first place?
I don't think so. Because they didn't manage to leave this compound from the start. Unless ONC brought vehicles to them, which I think was the case. But for themselves, nah. But FTF, look at this, Juju. FTF on the high ground, overlooking them. So they are also in a position whereby if the fight's over, they can move in and be the third, by the time, fourth party to come into Power Grid.
Power Grid is just so heated up right now. Electrifying performance coming from these teams. Can see how much they need this to work for them. But for AAP, they heard the gunshots. A bit panicky, but they need to get out. Slowly trying to exit out from the back line of Power Grid, moving to the southern part. But they need to find those forwards desperate enough. They need to get on the 4-wheel. They found themselves a truck. It's going to work as long as they get to leave and exit out and just stay alive for a couple more. Then contest those kills against the side of EXO. But for Gascan, it's going to be the end for them right now. But Aura, taking the compound, trying to flash out CG. Having a bit of a casualty on their side with Tragic and finish off. Hamster is going to be next for CG. Now they're finding that one last play of CG. He's on the top floor. Now climbing down the stairs for the outchoose. And it's going to be a bit of a trade. Trying to secure their elimination. But another team out. It's still the first phase of a circle.
I know, right? We're still not in the second phase, but we got like 2 teams already out. It's insane this final round. And of course, EXO Clan, they're the happiest of the bunch right now. They'll be like, okay, yeah, we kind of did it. But of course, if they want to go out with a bang, why not go out with a chicken dinner?
Just feels they are super confident right now. They know for a fact the closest contender is already out. All they need to do is just keep it going, maintain, and just survive. They don't even need to be aggressive as much as they were back then. All they need to do is just hold on to those time. But for CF, on the other hand, you with a minute 14 definitely spotted out a solution. See it through those grills. Solution have no clue. This is very scary. It's like you're being haunted by something that you can't see coming up from SL.
Yeah, considering that he's the last man standing, so pretty sure that he's not gonna do anything. He's just gonna like chill. Okay, let's probably play for placement points because he can still go up a couple of ranks in the overall chart. So might as well. But for EXO Clan, I mean, this guy's still be chilling at this moment. In fact, they can just go around run and gun if they want to because they have nothing much to lose at this point. But looking at the elimination feed that's currently running, Kaio will be knocked down somewhere else. Archangel Predator moved away from Power Grid, now in the area of Chumacera, where EXO Clan happened to be going there as well.
Boy, you know what? This is just fate or coincidence. I'm not sure anymore. It feels like the top contenders. And EXO feels very confident with their spot right now, but we don't know how much of a gap between AAP, and is it still within reach for AAP? And if this turns out that AAP got 20-ish sort of eliminations, they still can take away that #1 spot anytime now. It's not impossible at this rate. The rest of EXO, lucky enough, they're not actually getting themselves in a problem still. Just going around at the back line of Chumacera. I think the circle just happens to be around this area. Probably the way they studied it, the pattern, it feels like a hunch for them to actually get here. They heard the gunfire, they want to go for the kills there. The moment you saw this player start to move towards those gunshots, you know for a fact they are thirsty for blood. They want to go for those kills and they will secure it. We're talking about EXO, one of the best team. When they try to force a fight, the team comes just remarkable, but not so much when it comes to driving skills.
Yeah, not the smoothest of bunch. But at least they still managed to get their way into the circle unchallenged. They've got to give it to the scouter of giving the information. But so happened that the circle shifts away so they can just continue on driving. But at the same time, we saw a couple of eliminations happening somewhere else. Archangel Predator now moving in. Because they'll be taking out the blue at this point, but that's okay. Still the first phase of the circle. But 9 secures that next elimination point to Fatties. Hachi's on the other side. Looks like this compound so far secured. But 4S, they're not done yet though. They want this compound back.
Just playing too far from each other. I'm spotting out just some kind of being tagged out by somebody else in the back line. But definitely cannot help the teams right now. 2 just some. This one is another one. But 9, that's going to be an easy spray coming from just some. Finish things off. But you know, I'm going to leave that one and come back to that after this. But AAP versus EXO still ongoing. Chasing the tail bit by bit. They heard the audio queue. They heard those vehicles coming over this side. They are chasing the heck out of it. Land straight on the ground. Alex with a mini 14. I feel this is going to be a really great ending for both teams, especially if EXO in the last minute be taking away their spot, but none of the rest of AAP start to push. They go for the flank, they're circling them around, but EXO will not try to take up this challenge. You know what? This is too much at risk. This is the first time we're looking at EXO retreating and back from a fight.
Yeah, MT's going to feel empty inside now that his teammates left him. But can't fault EXO Clan. I mean, if they really want to seal the deal, they just need to just hang on and let everyone else eliminate each other, especially for Archangel Predator. They're closest, I must say, to clinch that #1 spot. Although the chances are kind of small, but hey, if you're EXO Clan, you just don't want to take that risk. Right now, EXO Clan, they're just going to play for placement points. They're just hoping that at least for Archangel Predator to be eliminated next. And EXO Clan doing well so far. They've been evading a lot of fights.
This just shows how desperate they want that #1 spot, but at the same time, this might actually be detrimental for them as well. If they didn't secure any sort of eliminations, it's going to be not enough for them to solidify themselves at #1, because feels like AAP will catch up in terms of those kills. We talk about already secured 5 in the back for AAP, and that's just like what? Still in the second phase of a circle. We're hopping into less than a minute into the third phase. But in the meantime, Axe are being chased the heck by all the other teams down there. Even PE, they're hopping themselves there. But this might be the Thanksgiving they're waiting for Extra Clan. They're fleeing away from AAP. Now having PE walk straight into their trap. They got 2 knocked down. And it's going to be 1 left CJ. And this CJ will be also their victim here. Got himself secured that 4 points for Axo. We're playing as a tree. This might just work out for them.
Yeah, and for Samurai, eliminated number 11, back-to-back. Archangel Predator, they kind of know the route that Exo Clan took, so they're following behind. I mean, if Archangel Predator really wants a number 1 spot, which I'm sure they want, their first objective is that they need to take out Exo Clan as soon as possible. And with that 1 elimination from Exo Clan, they know that it's them. They will definitely try to hunt them down and try to revive any hopes of getting the number 1 spot.
Going better. We're talking about Axo running and just, you know what, stop chasing us. I don't want you in my life. But AAP is like so much attached to us. The idea wanted to take down Axo and just stopping their rampage run. Their steamroll, but Axo is not calling it quit just yet. They're just gonna, you know what? We're gonna keep the distance. We don't want to be as close as you are, but AAP will not gonna let this go by because they're still giving so much commitment to this side. But I'm worried about these 2 teams right now having the tunnel vision between themselves. It might be a third party that will finish off both straight away. It's like feels like a bickering between these 2 teams. Feels like a third person will slap them both shut down just there.
Ooh, well, I'm liking the compound that Exo Clan took. So right now they have a good compound just by the edge. That means that they don't need to worry about any shots coming in from the ocean onto their side. They just need to focus on on the outside whereby the high ground is at. And with Archangel Predator knowing that that's a compound, I mean, they need to take the risk anyway, because if not, they'll be stuck at most number 2. So they're going in right now.
Comes down, pushing to the side of Squeaky in this very small track here and found him out, but you know what? They are way faster. Squeaky knocks down on Nan. This is not great. It's going to be a failed attempt if this goes down. The entire team goes down, but it's going to be a 1-to-1 trade as Evil Patrick again making an opening for the AAP. The Archangel's Predator praying down to the side of Axo. And Alec finishing off. Squeaky straight on the ground in the grave, but not gonna pick that. Oh, Bagoose is here. Bagoose pick over. There was a window of opportunity to not being taken as potentially should been. Oh my goodness me.
All back and forth. And that is it for Exo Clan, eliminated at number 10. Taken out by Archangel Predator. Could this be the moment that they revive their hopes and dreams of getting the number 1 spot? And now with the revive, they still maintain a full squad though. 8 elimination points for Archangel Predator. They still need a lot more elimination points. They still need to go in for the hunt.
The possibility of getting a double digit, a huge one at that. And AAP seems to wanting to deliver us just that. 8 eliminations by far, saying us for the 4 piggies. But so much more on the side of AAP at the stake.
Yeah, look at this. Archangel Predator, they're not stopping despite they have a compound. They'll be like, okay, we're going in for the hunt. We're looking for teams. We're looking for elimination points. And now they're going to continue on against 4P next and TNX at the same area. It's long range coming from Alec. Alec could get a knockdown there, but no, not just yet. But the rest of the cavalry has arrived in this compound and they're going in for it.
And they're just running rampant now, trying to flush down to a society of 4 piggies, who's actually on the top contender for the highest eliminations as well. But look at that, Evil Patrick is taken and just been taken by the Evil himself. He's just going blindly in. Didn't have a second, that was a second thought at that. Just going in by himself as a front end. The rest of the team still thinking it as sane as they could be, but Evil Patrick is just evil. He's going in for the rush. He's gonna go for the flush. He's gonna go for the kills. He got one. He might got another one. Swap over one at minute 14. My goodness me. What is happening?
And wait a second. Freeways. He knows he's all alone, but he came in, going up against the entire squad of Archangel Predator. Oh man, this is going to be super interesting. He can pull off a clutch against them.
Plays coming up from these guys. It's just they let loose their evil side and just show so much. Look at how Evil Patrick is just going insane here. Lot of clutches. Walgen bots just gonna bring it over. One of the top elimination teams for Piggy has just been blown to smithereens within seconds, where AAP got themselves so much of eliminations already.
But look at this, another team on the high ground. Oh, wait a second, where did Shuhos come? Shuhos was there all the time? Archangel Predator didn't know that he's there? Okay, that's gonna be super interesting. Now, Shuhos, where exactly are... Oh, he's on the outside of the building. But if they show themselves on the other side, they'll be shot down by Trident. So, they can't really go for it, even though he knows he's there.
Any sign of slowing down. They definitely heard Shuhos there around there somewhere, but they're trying to spot him out where exactly he's at. Or is it that was the member of one of the players of 4 Piggies that they finished off early on? They definitely haven't got a clue, haven't got a glimpse of him. But at the same time, the greetings come out from the other side, come out from one core. They want to go and get for it. I'm talking about AAP. Just going on rampage mode. Look at that. They hop onto their cars and go exactly where Trident just shoot them from and just gonna go for the flush. At this point, I'm like, this is different level of PUBG. We're talking about how reckless they can get, but how good when it comes to those fights. They just wrap things over within seconds. Just sweep the floor clean.
Yeah, I guess because they understand that time's not on their side, because the longer they wait, other bodies will be eliminated, so they would dampen their chances of securing that amount of elimination points that they need to clinch that number 1 spot. So they're making it quick and fast, just moving on, even though they know that another one is just beside them, like Shoehorse. Like, it's not worth it for them to just spend too much time there. And so happened that they get an airdrop with an MK14 in it. That's a matter of finding more elimination points for themselves.
A blessing with an airdrop as well. What else? What else? The moment they actually push in there, they got the airdrop. They might actually spot out Shoehorse. But for FTF, this is not safe. Same goes for one core. It feels like the extinction of population of PUBG here with AAP present at this state, at this level, at this caliber of plays. This is scary.
It is indeed scary. I'll be scared for the teams who need to fight against Archangel Predator, and the fact that they're still in this with 11 elimination points for now. They don't seem to be stopping, but they're starting to chill a little bit more, maybe because the circle is kind of small, so they need the information. But the longer they wait, they might not have enough bodies to eliminate. And now, looking at FTF, they're going against ONC. ONC has the compound. FTF, they have the numbers. They might go in anytime soon.
For all the teams having a bit of a hold here, a bit of a stalemate, I have a feeling that AAP will actually try to force this fight. They're not wasting any more time. Look at that. The moment we mentioned about them, Shoehorse will get to live, but the moment he shoots, it's going to be a bit of a U-turn coming from Evil Patrick. He's just so evil today. He's not going to look at that. He's going to pull over. I feel like he will stop himself then try to find for Shoehorse, but I'm not sure if they know exactly where he's at. On the side of AAP, they're definitely going to climb up the hill, and after you have and one call break the silence with those shots coming in, and this attract the rest of AAP to push forward. And they spot out Trick. Alex just going to go for the kills there, but Alex got to quite a with the kill soon as well. That's another point contributing to the side of AAP.
Wow, that was a beautiful counter by Alec there, taking down Rick. Now 12 elimination points held by Archangel Predator. KDR on the high ground against Patrick. Patrick tries to get one. KDR super duper low. Patrick's going in for the chase. Patrick tries to find a good angle, but you gotta be careful. There's someone else on the high ground as well. Patrick playing on the low ground. They're surrounding KDR. KDR all alone in the compound, and Archangel Predator coming down to give judgment onto him.
God bugs! Sprays, and he goes crazy. Alton, he needs to get out from there as the Blues are closing it and shrinks. AAP, they take whatever they can get. They risk their neck for this. And after EF will be next. Alex toss the flashbang, going with the shotgun, going in again the wonders of the shotgun, and now taking on one call as well. After that, man is still there, but AAP, they're blown away by this performance. It's just incredible. Those kills will work wonderfully well for them, and Jack Z on the ground bleeding out, and they're just going in, just mopping everyone off the floor, off the surface of PUBG in Roma.
Oh, Nate, Molly! Where did we just see a whistle? That is one Collins on at number 6. Archangel Predator, 16 eliminations. Could this be the dream for them?
Last push they're having, this is just blowing my mind off. This is next level of plays coming out from AAP. They're showing how much they desperately want to actually go for the next stage. They want that slot, they want those prizes, they want the champions. In the challenges rumbles, yeah, Miller. The moment you're thrown down, we know your fate, because look at how aggressive, proactive coming out from AAP. They break the 20 kills barrier. They are there. They want to take that number 1 spot, and this is what they need to do, and they are doing it.
Well, the highest so far is 19. If they manage to eliminate all of them, they can get more than 20, and that will break the record in the final round. And now Alec going around. Shoehorse still survives, but Alec, I think he sees Shoehorse. Okay, Shoehorse definitely exposed himself. Alec knows exactly where he is. Alec's gonna come down. Alec is ready to pick out Shoehorse. Shoehorse is kind of caught in between Alec, tapping out the Shoehorse. No, it's gonna be Miller being knocked down. Shoehorse is still not found out.
I'm getting it now. It's 17 kills. Not just that, they got themselves that those ranking points will work so much. They got almost 1/3 of the population of PUBG just by themselves right now. None going in for more. It's pushing it to his side of Alec. Just open up the smoke so Alec can actually pick out. Maybe possibly trying to find for the players of Trident. But he got surprised from the back line instead. Now exactly know where there's the rest of Trident. None pushing in with those nades, giving the information back to the rest of the team. And such a clean, organized team fights and flash and push as well. We'll talk about the full roster of AAP still there. Shoehorse, on the other hand, just going to play tag along at this point. He's just being side by side with AAP since the last time we saw him around a different vicinity.
Yeah, they're still. He's so lucky to still survive up to at least a top 4 finish. That's insane for Shoehorse. There's still enough bodies though for Archangel Predator, just putting it out there. Now they know where exactly Shoehorse is at. Super duper low, 10% of health left. They can't finish off Shoehorse just yet, but now they're moving in. Aljim Bot knows where Shoehorse is at, trying to find a good angle, and that is a number 18 for them. And they now have like 3 more bodies for them to take, and they can take all of them. Who knows? They could be the number 1.
But they might finish as a 4. It might breaking the record. We're talking about 25 or maybe 24 elimination. There goes Evil Patrick and open again to a sort of Trident. They're gonna go for the push, for the out salty. Bot's gonna spray it over. It was so easy. They're not breaking any sweat. They didn't swift. Everything is so sharp and crispy coming out from AAP. Now pushing towards the snow. The last remaining member for Trident. This is going way faster than we thought it would be, Cloud.
Oh yeah, we're like what? Phase 7! Down to the top 3 teams, with Snow being the last man standing. Snow 1v3. Or 1v4 technically. Can he do it? Nan spots him for the high ground. No, he doesn't, but Nan want to break them with Nan! Nan takes out Snow! 21 elimination points, they officially broken the record! Can they get the 22nd with PV, the last man standing?
Nobody wants to be in PV shoes right now. With this sort of AAP running amok all over the map, wiping 1/3 of population of PUBG just by themselves. But PV is not panicking. It's gonna be relaxing on inside of this house, around the corner, taking his own sweet time for the blue zone to shrink and just welcoming the fate for his life. And Patrick running rampage on a steamroll for AAP. Definitely knows exactly where PV is. They check all the other compounds, they check all the other houses and apartments. There's nobody there. It's definitely this one. And Patrick spot him out. The auditor will tell them away and just finish off. What an explosive performance from AAP. We were told they'd be quiet today, but we were wrong. Look at them, Cloud.
22 elimination points, breaking the record in the final round. That is crazy by our interpreter. Would they have done enough to get the number 1 spot? If they did, it is the most insane comeback that we have seen. Man. Oh, this is gonna be crazy. I really can't wait. I really can't wait to see the final score. This is mind-blowing, Juju. Oh man. It's crazy.
They definitely secured more than 30 points this round. This is the highest we got in the finals by far. And it is the biggest volume of kills by far. They're breaking every record being set by all the other teams down there. But where do they stand? Do they stand at first or do they stand at second? Will it be enough for them to overtake Echo at this point? In the last map, in the last push, during the last day of their very last moment.
It is crazy. I'm lost for words if they can do it. We need to tabulate the scores later on. But here's the highlights. Well, technically, Chuchu, all the highlights are Archangel Predator because they're the ones going up of the entire round.
Around from this Miramar map, we're talking about how wild things can get. This is even wilder. They don't even think. They don't even have a second to think. Look at how confident they are going in. Guns blazing everywhere. Especially Patrick. You know what? I think like Patrick giving them some sort of a pep talk behind us somewhere. You know what? There's something else for them to actually do. Why don't we just go crazy? And they deliver.
It is evil Patrick indeed. He was evil the entire round. Man, I'm mind blown right now. Okay, mind blown by their performance because we thought that 4 rounds they didn't perform. You can't think about it. 4 rounds they didn't perform. And the final round they just went crazy. It's like I don't know. They somehow picked themselves up and the final round they just went ballistic. And if you can't think about it, they have very little time in between games to pick themselves up. And somehow, whatever they did behind the scenes, it worked.
Downtime for the players at all. We're talking about, okay, we're done with this map. Okay, next, into the lobby. Go straight next, into the lobby. There's no downtime for them for any sort of discussion we're talking about. Yeah, we're talking about no breaks. And they only get 2 points the entire day until this last match happened. This is crazy. There's just no words I can explain right now. I haven't seen any team that can turn the things over just at the flip. It's like they have Thanos. They just snap their fingers and everything dies.
Yeah, it's like they just, I don't know. It's one of the craziest flips that we have seen in the longest time, or maybe forever. I don't know. This is insane. Considering that they didn't need a break, like a proper break to do that flip. And you know what that just tells us? Like, hey, you know what? Who needs breaks anyway? Maybe next time, every tournament in the future, we just do it like without a break. You guys don't need break. See what happened to Archangel Predator. Who needs a break if you want to be champions, right?
The funniest part is that even our back end production is just gonna double check everything just to be sure that everything is on point. Look at how many zeros down there. How many? They are the only team with the most elimination here. There's no way you can deny that anymore.
This is crazy. 32, and then the next one is 9. When was the last time you see this sort of gap? This is crazy. This is insane. The closest rivals. Okay, so Gas Clan, 0 points. Archangel Predator has where are they? Let's see. Where are they? Where's Archangel Predator? Oh yeah, there you go. Oh sorry, not Archangel Predator. Where's the Exo Clan? Yeah, Exo Clan. Where are they? 4 points. I mean, look at the gap. It's crazy. I mean, I'm just going
they
insane.
Are doing something impossible, and they are an impossible team as well. We're talking about how they just turn things over. The last map, they just crush Gascan. They crush Exoplans about going towards the PUBG Global Series. This is just
wait. Oh, 2 points! Oh!
No
The it was that close. Oh my god. Oh my god, Chichu, I'm having headaches now. Okay, you take over the show.
God, that's not too far as well. We talk about 6 points. That's 6 points if it's starting from last day here. They put it in. That's so much that can turn the thing by the end of the day. But ExoClan barely. They were biting their nails just now for ExoClan. Waiting if is it gonna be enough for AAP to take them over. That was so close. But congratulations, ExoClan. Taking this champ is well deserving. The consistency for the entire last week here speaks for itself. That last push coming out from the side of AAP was really scary. Super scary.
Oh yeah, it was super scary. I mean, if I was ExoClan and I got eliminated that early, I'll be sitting back and say, I'll be shaking my pants like, are we going to get overtaken? Like, Archangel Predator is going nuts. But now I can formally say, Kang the Conqueror. They conquered it all. And they started the day at number 3. So that was crazy. Started the day at number 3, get number 1. Last round was insane for them. They almost got overtaken by Archangel Predator, but they still held on to it somehow. This is an insane day. Why? Why is this happening? Why?
Just wild. This is just beyond our expectation. What a privilege to actually sit here to cast this match, this entire tournament. I have to thank you so much for the teams down there. Even though they didn't make it for all the 16 teams, it has been an incredible journey for them. But it's not done yet. Don't forget, this is only the season 1. But for ExoClan, they secure themselves that slot for the Asia Super Cup. And not just that, the Global Series is in their hands already secured. Nobody else can take it away from them. The 2 points of AAP, they have to let it go for now.
Yeah, they had to let it go. Too bad. They held on to the number 1 spot like for the longest time. But yeah, it comes down to that final game. They almost got it. But at least, well, the good news is that they got a second place. And second place is not too bad because you get more PGC points as compared to the third place and so on. And you get a little bit more moolah as well. So yeah, but of course, as any competitor, you really want to get that number 1 spot. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? But you gotta give it to ExoClan. Crazy.
Okay, I think that's it for us. But you know what? That 2 points will hit and break their heart so much for AAP. But what a performance. A crazy run in the last map. And also, Gascan have been holding like all the entire day, but they just fumbled and in shambles in the last map. For the other teams down there, we have to thank every single one of you being part of the show. And thank you so much, Clap, for being here with me and all the production crew, Trafton and PUBG as well. You guys actually be sticking up. I mean, like, you've been stick out the entire day with us, even though we are unbearable for you. But thank you so much with, bearing it with us alongside. And so sorry for our shortcomings. We try our best to make everything work. But still, what a day and what a privilege. Thank you so much. Any else to say, Cloud?
Well, all I can say is that it's been an amazing day. And of course, it's always a pleasure sharing this moment together with Choo Choo. And I hope our producer gets his car fixed soon. So thank you so much to you guys watching as well. I hope you had a great weekend.